Oh, we are live back in the studios after what was kind of like a break, I guess you could say. A little slowdown. Just make sure my sound is up here. Welcome back. Good to see you, Sohail and Scott. First in, as always. Great to have you guys with us in the studio. And it is episode 72. Got a special guest here today, Jeff Kirdeikis of TrustSwap. I got to say, really excited for this conversation. Just had a nice chat in the green room. Conversation between these two Canadian boys flowing like water. Just delightful. Big news for Ethereum. Let's just flip over. Not news. Okay, wow. Big price action, I should say. Price action. Let's go flip over to Ethereum. I mean, look at this. My God. Got to do a quick touch on the markets before we get into the conversation to satiate all of our charting needs and people probably curious, like, what the hell's going on in the market today? I mean, this is insanity. We had this GAN level up on the chart, and I mean, we just tagged it, came back. I was like, okay, that's normal, and then just blasted through. I mean, absolutely nuked it in the last couple of days, right up to this chaos level, which, you know, go figure, marked the sort of local top for now. They often do, and you get those from drawing from like the pivot low to the pivot high of the previous consolidation. It just kicks out this big fat target, and if you set sell orders on those kinds of things, as a trader, right? If you're an investor, cool, we're in a bull market, hang on. Still bullish trend, but as traders, those make great levels. That's why we have them on the chart. Price action over the weekend was pretty sick. Closing up the year on New Year's Eve, right? And then that was sort of like the extra day off, and then weekend. And we put out a tweet sort of to the extent basically saying, you know, like, don't be surprised if that entire weekend move, whatever it is, because at the time we were just down here, don't be surprised if that gets taken back into the Monday close or into the Monday, excuse me. And that's just the nature of the CME, right? It's kind of like the big boys go to sleep, they park, you know, their capital where it is, whatever their orders, their positions, and then, you know, the weekend takes over, crypto to do whatever it wants, and then the Monday open comes, big boys are back, and we end up often, not always, but often we end up pretty much right where we left off, which is kind of sick if you think about it. And it's something to know about if you like to trade crypto. It's 24/7, yes, but it is absolutely, and more each day, affected by the legacy market hours. And so that's kind of what we saw right through this fib extension. Pretty sick levels. Nice fat little 4-hour head and shoulders. The first bearish market structure that we have seen on the corn since quite a little while ago, you know, arguably right here, all the way back here, maybe a little one here, in the sub 20 kind of price action. And as you would expect, with the first sign of weakness in Bitcoin, we had an absolute explosion on Ethereum Bitcoin, sort of the ETH BTC, you know, a big drop in BTC dominance as it was making highs up around 73%, 74%. Nice big drop down. And if we confirm bearish structure here, right, I'm watching for something like this, and, you know, some kind of bounce up and then another rejection. And if we end up closing below this, either off that bounce or just straight away, you can expect this to be bearish market structure. And that means Bitcoin dominance starts trending down. And as those of you who have been watching know, that is, Jeff's going to be on in just 2 seconds. Lincoln 2895. Just doing a little preamble while we get everything humming on the back. Like to load up our lobby. So this is sort of my quick recap of the market right now, where, you know, Bitcoin is hovering at a key level, and, you know, probably not much to worry about. I mean, look at this friggin' run here. Got a nice big candle down, but, you know, there's no bearish market structure to speak of on the daily. It's just bull. I think the one red flag you could say exists, which a lot of people won't agree with, and Jeff and I will discuss this, is this big nasty candle to open the year on the S&P. I mean, if you're thinking about a January barometer for like the way that the year starts, ends up kind of being, I mean, that's a pretty sick candle. It's a key reversal bar. We'll see how that closes today. But, you know, everyone has their opinions on how that affects crypto. We'll see how it does. But I'm pretty excited. I mean, DOT, oh my God. Polkadot, this is going to be huge. DOT projects, we're going to be all over them. But without further ado, I'd say quick plug here on one of the charts I've been watching on Uniswap Vision. And, you know, I mean, from pre-sale to the highs, over 300x to kick off the summer here. That's swap token from TrustSwap. And, you know, nice, pretty standard washout, pretty like TA savvy, nothing too surprising here, right down to the 88.6. And that's sort of where you see the evidence of some loading up, and just has taken off in the last few weeks here, level by level. We've been tracking it, not as much on the stream, but I've been tracking this, like, chart has just been on one of my tabs. basically for months. As you know, it's just one of those coins I like to keep a close eye on. So I'm really excited to have the founder of TrustSwap here in the studio today. I'm going to flip back over here to my main screen. We've got Jeff Kirdeikis in the studio today to just talk markets, hang out, and maybe talk a little TrustSwap, see what's coming up a little later on in the show. How's it going, Jeff?
I'm doing great. How are you keeping? I'm just seeing the desk now. I just look like a little floating head. I should have zoomed out a bit. There we go.
Set up with each, right, for sizing and all that. But shout out to our producer, John, who is just a magician with the set we've got here, feeling like TSN Sports Center.
Yeah, it's looking legitimate. I like it. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, we have some fun here. And so it's good to have you in here in the studio on the Monday to kick off the year. And it's a year where I expect DeFi, I think most people expect DeFi to really continue, I guess you could say. It's not going to like explode for the first, but continue to grow at a pace. And with the launch of Polkadot, interoperability is going to be, you know, big word there. And so it just seems suiting to have you in here first thing to kick us off. So really glad that we could have you on today.
Definitely. Yeah, no, just because of the preamble we were having in the green room, as you were saying, I think we're going to have a lot of good conversation today based on the markets, even, Polkadot and interoperability. I definitely have some thoughts on there in terms of, if ETH2 is coming, like what's the utility of it really? So yeah, I think there's a lot of good stuff that we can really dive into today. And I think we may have some opposing viewpoints on some things, which should be perfect conversation.
I already brought up the S&P correlation.
You did.
So we know we have to talk about that today. But and that's really like, I think the more we see institutionalization, there's your word of the day, of Bitcoin, you're going to just see that correlation probably strengthen. I see it as an uncorrelated asset. I think mathematically speaking, it has proven to be one.
Mm-hmm.
But you are, I think, going to see more and more ties between it because the reason markets to move together, the S&P dumps, the Dow Jones dumps, NASDAQ decided roll over a little bit, although it's been outperforming a bit last year. Generally speaking, it's just because you got a lot of the same funds, a lot of the same algos, a lot of the same players. And so when they plug in to Bitcoin, you can expect to see some, even if it's an inverse correlation, like you'll see some relationship anyway. So
yeah, no, for sure. And I agree. Because, for example, in March when coronavirus really hit and all markets were tanking and Bitcoin, touched 3,800 briefly, there was a huge amount of correlation there just because the overall sentiment was just so overbearing and overwhelming that, okay, everything is moving in tandem. Doesn't matter if you're in the United States, if you're in crypto, if you're in, Southeast countries, doesn't matter. Everything was just moving with this global sentiment. But in terms of, I guess, traditional markets, maybe here's where my viewpoint would be a little bit different. I feel like a lot of the reason why these traditional markets, you look, they're just like up and to the right. And especially over the last year or two. And I feel like a big reason for this is because, you have the US government printing over 20% of its entire supply in the last 365 days. It's actually much more than 20% of the supply.
Yeah, it's kind of staggering to think about.
Which is, it blows my mind. Like anyone who just thinks, and there's like that M1 money graph, and you just see the line going, and then there's the year 2020. It's like boom through the roof as they're trying anything that they can do to save the economy. And a lot of that money went directly into kind of pumping up stocks and bailouts and things like that. So that's probably one of the thoughts that I'd have is why it's not necessarily correlated, because as those big bailouts and inflation happen, that strengthens the value proposition of Bitcoin. So for sure, there's the global sentiment. Oh, stocks are doing well, so the world's doing well. Everyone's making money, so money flows to Bitcoin. But I'd say that as inflation continues to ramp up with these stimulus checks, they're like, oh, we're going to give everyone $600. They're like, 2,000. Why not? I'm like, that's a lot of extra money. I don't disagree with that, but it really strengthens the Bitcoin value proposal for me.
It does. I mean, I think a lot of people still obviously value their Bitcoin as much as we want to bash on fiat. I mean, we value it against fiat. The current system still runs on those currencies. And when you print and print and print and print, the value of Bitcoin kind of rises against that thing that you're watering down. And that's absolutely the big value prop. I mean, it was Andreas Antonopoulos who got me into Bitcoin with his teachings back in 2017. And his whole thing was like, guys, like these systems are all the same. You know, look at Greece, look at Venezuela, look at Zimbabwe. They are all built on the same system, the credit debt cycles, all that stuff. I won't get into it. I'm not an economist, but having heard him speak, you know, I think a good interview would be on London Real's YouTube channel, The Death of Money. And I think he did part 1, 2, 3, a couple, like since 2014. Really good, insightful interviews for anyone who's interested. And it's kind of frightening, you know, it's frightening stuff to the point where at the bottom, actually, I will say this, I can, you know, claim the fame on this. I didn't go all in or anything, but I certainly bought around that kind of crazy March dump. And I was very fortunate to know BTC Jack Sparrow, who's been on the show before, and he's a buddy of mine. And he was talking about it when we were up at 10K. He's like, guys, like there's going to just be this absolute crazy nuke. It was nothing to do with coronavirus. So when I said it was to do with coronavirus, he's like, no, actually it was on the charts. And he basically said like everyone who's buying the dip has to get liquidated. And then there were like, he's like, the dip buyers will get liquidated. And then the dip buyers of that will get liquidated. And the dip buyers of that will get liquidated. And then we're at the complete absolute death bottom. We'll have a bull market. And I was like, okay. So when it happened, I was just a little less shocked, I think, than most people. But it gets to the point where you start to look to people that you care about, like my mom in this case. And I just said like, Ma, you got to buy this dip. I was like, you know, like if you've got like a few $100K in your retirement thing, like over, you know, like we're not rich by any means, but like you've got a decent little amount sitting in stocks, like diversify that shit. And so I was very thankful, and she is too in this case, that I told her I was like, buy 1 Bitcoin. It was like 4,400.
She's up 10x now, pretty much.
Hell yeah, of course. Right now she's calling me. She's like, "Do I still own a Bitcoin?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, you do, Ma." But I'm just like, you know, hold on to that because it's a 5-10 year outlook. You know, in her case, and but it gets to this point, and like Andreas Antonopoulos said, he called his mom. He's like, "Take your money out of the bank," and this is like quite a while ago.
Yeah,
in Greece, and your life savings and put it into Bitcoin because your money's not safe. And then like 2 years later, they gave everyone like a 20% haircut on their savings. The whole government did. They just reach into your bank and take it.
Yeah, and you know, everyone says, you know, they look to other countries, whether it's Greece or Venezuela, whether it's the 20% haircuts, whether it's hyperinflation. Everyone says, oh, you know, that would never happen to me. And then you could just look to the US, literally 2020, the year that just happened. They just printed 20%. So it's like the things that it's kind of like, oh, you know, my neighbors will get broken into their house, but my house will never get broken into. I'm safe. It's this like false sense of security that everybody has until it happens to them. And, you know, you look at, you know, what is this monetary structure anyways? You know, if you deposit $100, they can now lend out $1,000. I don't know exactly. I think the ratio is about 10 to 1 or so, but it's crazy house of cards. And I think what we need is a system that isn't a house of cards, that actually has real backing. And, you know, everyone's shitting on Bitcoin because like, oh, it's not backed by anything. And I'm like, well, I think, for example, like Peter Schiff is a really good one. He's always all.
I love how much he tweets about Bitcoin, though.
Oh man, it's his full-time job.
He tweets about Bitcoin more than I do.
Yeah, it's his. I'm like, what do you even do these days, man? Like, he's full-time tweeting about Bitcoin, how it has no value, and his main the counterpoint that he has, because he's a big gold bug. He's a gold advocate, of course.
Yeah,
and so he says it's like, okay, well, gold it has value because it's useful and we can use it in things. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, man, but like these big stacks of gold bricks, like you're not using that in electrical wiring and all these electrical wiring. You can use copper, you can use other metals that work just as well as gold. Like this whole gold is better than Bitcoin because of the utility argument, I find not as convincing as he kind of hangs his hat on.
No, and I mean, I'll tell you this, it's taught me a lot about value. And what is value? Even just the other day on Facebook, you know, I posted when we made an all-time high, and I posted a big like weekly chart, and you know, I think it was actually one of these, but he basically just comes on. He's like, but why does it have value? And I had to catch myself. I was like, how do I put this into like a quick Facebook post? Because I don't want to get into this huge thing. And then it really forces you when you talk to other people, like trying to really capture, you know, the exact reason why. And the best that I can say is that in my time in crypto and Bitcoin, is I've learned that value is really just about finite amount, you know, like a cap on supply makes something potentially scarce. The fact that it's secured worldwide, there's no central authority. Okay. Another plus, nobody can just basically rug it all by themselves. Like any particular government. And we just talked about have been doing. And then on top of that, you know, you can transfer value. I was like, you ever sent $150 to Southeast Asia on a remittance payment, like cost you $50 and it took a week long to do. 5 middlemen between that had to sign off and they each get paid. So there's just like 3 quick points, but
yeah. And I feel like it's not even that it has to be scarce or that like for sure it's like fungible, divisible, transportable, like all those great qualities like gold shares as well. But I feel it's like things have value because people agree they have value, and that's it. That's where
basically that's the bottom line.
Because I can make a pair of shoes, a purse, a watch, and the value of that item is going to depend exclusively on what logo I put on it. Of course, there's quality metrics as well, but the difference between a Rolex watch versus like a Casio is not that huge versus the price differential. So
I was thinking about that the other day. Yeah, watches seem to be the new Lambo.
Oh man,
Twitter. Everyone's like, they're more portable
watches.
I keep seeing these sexy watch pictures this year. I was like, guys, what happened to Lambos? I think Lambos are so 2017, even 2014.
Yeah,
it's the year of the watch. Let's check in with the chat real quick. We got a lot of fans in here, Jeff. You're a popular guy. Jeff, where are you at? Let's go, Jeff. Couple of.
Yeah, I see a few because people are commenting on a couple things. Like, you got to address the elephant in the room. There's always going to be people throwing in some FUD or shade. So I love to just kind of knock that off when I can. So
totally.
People talking about Uptrend. So that's obviously a social platform that I founded. It's still up and running. I think it's maybe the 2nd or 3rd most engaged social platform in the world right now. So everyone's like, oh, did you scam people because your token price is down? It's like, my friend. Yeah. A token price is a utility token. It all depends on the economics of the system. Nobody's telling you to buy a utility token ever. If they are, that constitutes a security. So it's like, hey, if you want to buy this token, it's to use it on the platform. And that's how it goes. And that's how it goes for TrustSwap as well. And so
totally. No, I mean, that I honestly totally forgot about OneUp. I didn't really know, I wasn't too familiar with you at the time. I remember in August this year, caught like a pretty sweet rally. I think it was probably an echo off of TrustSwap. Like as a trader, I was like, oh man, like how did we not see that? Like your name TrustSwap was hot, and then it was like, oh, he has another project. I mean, that's just like a trader echo pump kind of thing, right? And but I mean, it is unfortunate and probably pretty uncomfortable on your side of things. And certainly on mine as well. I mean, even had somebody trolling me on Twitter the other day. They said like, aha, Hxro Labs is like, bullish on ETH BTC, so I know it's going to dump. And I was like, okay, like, it's just kind of evidence of what we already know, which is that most people, A, because they're too lazy, or B, more perhaps generously because they don't have the time, which is fair, busy life, busy world. They don't have the time to get into all this stuff, learn it all themselves, and essentially take responsibility for it. And so when things don't work out the way they wanted or the way they expected, it's very easy to offset that responsibility on somebody else. Say, you did this, I have been affected badly, and so my decisions there become, your responsibility. And it is awkward and it's uncomfortable. And I wouldn't even throw shade at those people as much as just be like, I'm sorry to hear that you're struggling, and I want to, genuinely like come on here and let's talk and let's like get some plans going. You got some questions? Let's learn how to trade. Like, let's learn how to manage risk first and foremost.
Yeah.
And how to not just blindly get into things. I mean, I think the concept of like an exit scam, it's like, well, dude, I'm right here. Like, you don't even have like, I have like a weird random task. Like I have a handle. I'm like kind of hiding behind that tag, although everyone knows my name, but like, you're right there. You're, good old Canadian boy. Like who's hiding? It's just an awkward thing. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you nailed it. You mentioned like, people should be going in blind. Like, what? People can go in blind. People can take gambles. I think a lot of crypto for a lot of people, even though we're talking about utility tokens, yada, yada, is people who are signing up for asymmetric risk reward gambling. Yeah. That's what I feel like a lot of this is, where they're like, you know what, I'm going to put it into this low cap coin and maybe it goes to 0 and then I lose $1,000, but maybe it goes up 20x and I make 19,000. And so that's what I see a lot of people doing. And then when their risk goes down, it's like them being at the casino saying, Mr. Dealer, why didn't you give me 21? Like, this is your fault. Yeah. And, it's like, listen, you guys know what you're signing up for. I think people need to start taking a little bit of personal responsibility in the space. I think that's, over my journey in crypto, I think that's the biggest issue. Is everyone is looking to put the blame on someone other than themselves when things go wrong, and then when things go right, they're the hero. I think maybe that's more a commentary on human psychology as a whole, but anyways, we don't have to go deeper into that. Mm. Yeah, for sure. Yep, sounds good.
There, guys. Hey, sorry about that. It was like Jeff's mid sentence. We're talking about responsibility, and suddenly, just boom, everything froze. So shout out to Rendezvous. Ooh. Third-party software for Wirecast sometimes does throw us for a loop. Always at the peak conversation. Uh, stream rugged. Yes, Dave. Shout out to Dave Millet. Hope you're still chilling in that the Walmart parking lot. I always get a kick out of that day that you signed in. You're like, streaming live. Yeah. Only explanation. Yep. So Jeff is here with us. He's just gonna get back in. Gonna make sure that he's got my ping. Jeff, if you're watching on YouTube still, I pinged you on Telegram. It's Jeff, check your TG. So we got the link back in there on his TG. So hopefully he'll get back in here with us. But you know what? Really good conversation about just something that's always that elephant in the room, which is, we're all here to make money to some extent. Okay, some guys are in it for the tech, but to some extent, if there was no financial incentive, we just wouldn't have the same level of engagement. That's why Bitcoin works, right? The miners get paid, they turn on their computers, they buy expensive equipment, they get rewarded. The whole thing is based on human incentive. That's why it works. So, Jeff, welcome back. Just catching everybody up.
Totally.
Where we left you was essentially this concept of, um, oh, looks like we might be struggling quality on TradingView. Somebody just gave us the business. Said, by the way, you have poor video stream.
Oh,
Well, always appreciate feedback. We do definitely get some buffering on TradingView. That's, they're in beta. They're working on that. But we stream there because, why not? TradingView is the shit. And part of their beta is testing. So, okay. So we're back. Good. Yeah. Exit all live stream markets. Okay. Good stuff.
that was a fun banter in the chat. Well, for those 2 minutes there.
Yeah. Just diving into the chat. Okay. So basically, I think we left you off. I left you off at basically that point of just taking responsibility. And I think it's tough. And that's why I'm so careful when I talk on stream, when I teach on stream, when I share ideas on stream. Like I always probably over disclaimer, even on things that I'm insanely bullish on, that I'm just balls deep in, and I have this massive bag, and I'm just like, guys, anything could happen, like careful, because I know whether I say so or not, whether it's like we're all adults and you're responsible for your own shit, I know somebody somewhere is going to be maybe in a tough spot and they're just going to go too far. And that, that weighs on me, legitimately does. Like I see people in certain team chats sometimes and they're just like, oh my God, I'm so wrecked. When will this go up? And I'm like, bro, that was the top. Like, Why did you buy that?
Yeah. And, I feel like people need to learn lessons the hard way. A lot of times I feel, it kind of like going back to that metaphor of, it's always going to happen to your neighbor. I feel like, oh, it's never, buying the top is never going to happen to me. And then, you buy the top once, twice, three times, you're not doing it a fourth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, go ahead.
Oh no, I just feel like it's a learning experience that people have to go through, because I feel like, you can hear it by analogy on like, okay, what buying the top looks like and feels like, and how the charts are moving and how the sentiment is going. And it's like, you can understand it in theory, but until it happens in practice a couple times, and, you get that emotional reaction to, okay, we want to be avoiding this in the future. Then, yeah. Anyways.
Can I have some fun with this one right now? Actually, on Trust Swap.
Yeah.
Because I chart TA's kind of been my jam, and it's been something that's sort of, I use it as a tool to essentially make decisions in the market. It's not a crystal ball, that's for sure. Let me pull up my chart. Actually, I thought I did, but so I thought this is a kind of funny example, because you are the founder of Trust Swap, and I have a really good example of this, what we're talking about from Swap.
Yeah.
This thing, I mean, mind-bending rally, like in the time that it happened too, right? In my mind, it kind of kicked off the summer DeFi hype. And I was obviously very fortunate to be a part of that pre-sale. And so, I mean, we're talking like half a cent, right? And so you got to talk about perspective. Like when this gets up, there's already, a lot of people that are like, oh my God, these sick gains. And then like, so point being, during this rally, I get really nervous, right? And again, I don't necessarily need your commentary on it, like, because I know you can't talk about price, but I'm just going to say, like, up here, and this is just TA, right? Like, some people hate it. They say, well, you're dumb, we're going at $5. And I'm like, someday, yes, there's value props, there's bigger pictures, but markets are markets. And, there's equilibriums. And when there's too many people that have made a ton of money, they're looking to sell. And when there's so many people that are, like the sellers are out of the market, there's like a bottom comes in. Like, this just but like you said, some people got to learn the hard way. And I remember distinctly when this came in, and I had a buddy who hadn't sold anything. And I was like, bro, just like pay yourself a little bit. Like, like we'll ride this down. Like we'll be here. Trust Swap's dope, but like careful. This was like a huge red flag. And I posted something like that on the price discussion, and I got chased out of there with a fucking pitchfork, right?
Right.
And I popped in a couple weeks later, not to like brag or anything, but just like posting some charts, because this part of this was like, hey, let's wait in the reload zone, and that's this colored zone that I love. That's just a fib, basically, just says we're gonna retrace. And so when it got down here, I was like, hey, cool, like we're in the buy zone, and of course I go in there like, you're a fucking idiot, we're going to zero, get out of here. And like, it's just so emotional, but you got to learn the hard way. Yeah. I went the same way, actually. The school where I went to learn this shit, at TRI, that I talk about quite a bit, like during level 1, I was told, pull your money out of the market, just paper trade, take it easy, don't risk money, you don't know what you're doing. And I was like, no, man, I know crypto, I've been in here for a year and a half. And I rode the 6K drop on Bitcoin with my full bag, like this right here. Like, I had to learn the hard way. I ate a lot of shit right here. And then I learned to spot all this stuff, and it just helps me make decisions. So, I mean, I just thought it was kind of funny. And then like, it's just beautiful though. This thing has been following really just beautiful TA the whole way through. Levels, 88.6, build a base, breakout, retest, go, retest, go, retest, go. And naturally this week. So I'm curious, do you guys have anything coming up? What's going on with Trust Swap? Let's talk a little bit about your project. What's the latest? I personally haven't had a chance to dig into the, what updates, announcements, all that stuff. Like, do you guys have anything building? What are you excited about right now?
Man, if I listed all the things we were doing in coming up, I'd lose my voice by the time I was done with it. So, like, I won't comment too much on price, but it's always funny to me, the correlation between price and fundamentals, because there is none. Honestly, it seems like in crypto, there is none. You get more, let's just say it's so negligible, because the amount that we've built over the last, since you saw that chart on the decline, has just been absolutely staggering. Even just, rewinding super quick, we did 7 days of 7 announcements just before Christmas. We acquired one of our biggest competitors, Team Finance. They're now working with us. It was like an acqui-hire, and it's been one of the greatest synergies of all time. We now have a Visa credit card integration coming out. We have we partnered with a a decentralized margin trading exchange called Unimex. So I believe it's 6.25% of all fees on that platform then go to buy back swap tokens and then distribute it to stakers. We now on Dex Tools have the Team Finance logo on every single Dex Tool page, so people can check out, the token lock, liquidity lock status, and then just super quick for like January is a massive month for us. We really wanted to start this off huge.
Yeah,
probably some of the highlights we have are. I don't want to just do too much of a rant, so I'll try to keep it short here.
No, this is a big part of what we do here. We want to shed some light on, some of the real players in the game. And like for me, I'm listening and I'm like, holy shit, you've built so much utility into your token. There's so many reasons like why somebody might want to have like swap token. Like, so it's no more of this vaporware where it's like, hey, I'm going to just use this token to raise money. And then I'm just going to go build a product that's really cool. So for what it's worth, I'm inspired by what you've built and what you're building. And you, like you said, you just named 3 things. I was like, oh shit, like we get that too. So, I mean, by all means, continue. Let's have a few minutes. Let's talk.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, like kind of what we're doing is just becoming the Swiss Army knife of crypto is kind of how I think of it. We just have like this one mainframe that is TrustSwap, and then we have all these different branches, whether it's liquidity locks, launch pads, whether it's, the margin trading, whether it's the escrow services. In January, we have Swappable coming out. This is a big one. So this is an NFT and ERC20 combined marketplace. This is going to be the first of its kind, and it's going to absolutely decimate Rarible and OpenSea in terms of fees and on economics, on where those fees go, because we're actually taking the fees and we're redistributing them back to swap stakers. So it's not like, on Rarible and OpenSea, they actually charge 2.5 and 2.5, so 5% total. And that's got to go into company profits for sure on OpenSea. So we're flipping that around. We're having the NFTs.
So you've decentralized that in a way? Is that, I mean, or you've managed to find a system that you can offer the same but for a much lower fee? Is that?
Yeah. So I mean, OpenSea and Rarible are very decentralized in their own, but the only difference is they capture most of the fees, if not all. Okay. So we're just redistributing. Well, A, we're slashing the fees majorly. B, we're redistributing the fees we do capture to people who are staking swap tokens. And then C, what's the it was the only ERC20 fusion marketplace. So the idea is, for sure, you have this cool NFT marketplace. It's not only dealing with like artwork, but it's also dealing with real world assets like real estate, bonds, different notes or invoices and things like that, things that hold like real world value. So it's kind of like a big second category that I don't see really happening in many NFT marketplaces yet. And then the third one, which is the ERC20 marketplace for OTC deals. Because, a lot of people, you're getting in a lot of pre-sales. So if you want to sell a SAFT agreement, if you want to sell massive amounts of tokens, let's say you have a big stack of XYZ token, you're like, listen, I'm looking to sell $1 million of this at a 10% discount vested over this period of time. Somebody can meet you in that OTC marketplace, make the deal, fees are negligible, you skip the lawyers, because that is a very arduous process happening right now. And so that's swappable. We have, let's see, I wrote a little list so I could prepare. So just so much happening. I need to like wrap my brain around it.
Yeah,
man. Yeah, we have said the glitch token sale. That one's kind of a cool one, another launch pad. It's a fully built blockchain. That doesn't happen. A fully built scalable blockchain that also is interoperable with Ethereum. So that's cool. You can trade the token on Uniswap, and it's a scalable blockchain. We have our website redesign, staking portal redesign, updated token lock and liquidity lock portal through Team Finance. And then the final thing that is one that I'm very excited for, and I won't add too much color on, is maybe I'll kind of add some preface. So right now we have token locks and liquidity locks. So that's cool because that adds security to different projects, to make sure that they're not exit scamming, yada, yada. But those two things don't guarantee that you're not going to exit scam. They're like a seatbelt and an airbag. It's going to help that you're not going to die in a crash, but things can still happen.
Well, they find other ways, right? Like infinite minting, and then it's like, oh, the liquidity's still there, but it's worthless.
Exactly. So what if there was a way that you could prevent minting? There was a way that you could prevent contract exploits or highly, highly, highly mitigate the potential of contract exploits and really take away every vertical conceivable that we've seen so far in how to rug a project. What if you could close all of those doors and lock them? And that is exactly what we're going to be rolling out with in January. So it's it's actually huge. I predict that once this rolls out, that easily well over 25% of newly minted ERC20s within the first quarter are going to be signing up for this ecosystem. I don't want to kind of leak too much info about it, but I predict honestly that TrustSwap and this like ecosystem play of very secure launches is going to be a gold standard for people, and the fee for it is pretty much negligible. It doesn't mean you have to go on the launch pad. Anybody can use it. So you don't have to ask us for permission. You just use it. You use the protocol, you use the token locks, you use the liquidity locks. Everybody can see everything transparently. Everyone understands the rules of the game that you're playing. And it creates a gold standard for security. So I'm very excited to roll that out.
Well, so am I now. I didn't know about that stuff before, dude. And that's, I mean, that's part of why I've been following along with you guys. I mean, obviously not directly, apparently, because I didn't know that. But, you know, like everyone in our Telegram and all this stuff is like, tell me about it, because, you know, that's the biggest issue right now. And you're seeing it every other week. There's a new rug, there's a new exit. And to be honest, some of them, it's like, well, fuck, who saw that coming? You know, these two anon devs who copied project and popped up, and a week later they exited with 200K. Like, they're pretty shitty rugs, but there are some bigger ones that you hear about that maybe they're not even like an exit by the dev, but it's like an exploit and all these things. So if you're telling me that you guys have come up with a way to remove those verticals for exploits, and then on top of that, you can slowly build like a pretty low fee, low cost to entry trust around launching, you know, new ERC20s that kind of pass all those litmus tests.
Yes.
I am bullish on it as an idea, and I'm excited about it because I've got the opportunity to post liquidity in some things, and I lose sleep. Like, I think it's a really sweet way as a trader who deals with stop losses, take profits, volatility, you know, getting stopped out, and then it goes like all that bullshit. And I'm just like, you know what? With Dollar Protocol, I learned that I could just like park some money in there and then wake up the next day and have like a few $100 worth of like a token, like share in this case. And I was like, oh my God, this like opened my eyes to this whole new world. But then you have this, people are like, well, what are the risks? It's like, well, you know, total, like, exit, you know, whatever the case may be, like exploit, like, you know, you might just wake up and it's like, oh, look, such and such rugged, you know. There were some really tough ones this summer that I know hurt people deeply, and I've dodged them thus far, knock on wood. I've been very fortunate to, you know, some of it's due diligence, but then some of it's just plain stupid luck, because I was even in some of them when it happened. Actually, okay, Nexi token, NEXE, but I had already taken the 2 ETH that I put into it back, but they did rug with the rest of my tokens. But you know, fair enough. So I've been sort of close to one. But the point is, what you're describing is exactly what I've been waiting for, which is like peace of mind. Let me play in this space. Let me get into some of these ERC20s. And you know what? Let's be honest. And I'm just going to be like, on a philosophical level, someone somewhere might find a way still.
Yes.
And that's the nature of innovation, to like, what the hell was a flash loan until some of those loan platforms existed. Right. And those are a whole other world of shit, like fascinating. But, you know, but for what it's worth, everything, like you say, that exists right now, risk wise, you're saying you found a way to mitigate, which is intense. I'm excited about that.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, on the topic of flash loans, you know, because that's kind of like an ecosystem exploit, you know what I mean? Like the ways that they play. I'll have to dive into flash loans. That's one thing. I'll kind of preemptive that. I'll need to look into how we can secure that vertical as well. Yeah. But you know, like on a standard ERC20, like that's a non event. Like flash loans, like very, very specific to like certain protocols.
Like at a contract level, you can secure it. Whereas like the flash. So I watched a video, and maybe we'll just share it, because I would be doing a disservice to the guy who made it. It was a really well done video. I forget who made it, but I'll have to find it. But he basically, it's like 20 minutes. He described how it works, and in a nutshell, it's basically just all happens in one transaction.
Yeah.
And like there's just 9 steps. And the first one is essentially borrowing something and then like using that to swap for something else, and then dumping the price of that thing over here. So the oracle over here reads it at the wrong price, and then you buy it up cheap over there on the false price, and then you sell it over here on the real price, and then you close, and then you end it by paying back your loan. And it's like, what? And it happens in one block.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh, $8 million just disappeared. What the hell? Like whoever created that, first of all, like
congratulations. That's very
fucking,
smart.
it's
Yeah.
just smart and it's cool and it exists. So if you
Yes,
didn't do it, someone else would have. And it's just
exactly.
the nature of growth. And some of them even sent back some of what they took. They're like, I'm going to take my pay for, teaching you about your exploit, but here's like 80% back or whatever it is, because I don't want to like rob everyone of their money.
Yeah.
So, not commending them on stealing, but like, holy shit, they figured that out. But anyways, that's something that
100%.
I'd be curious to learn more about, and then how we could mitigate that, because that's just like when you hear about shit like that and you're like, okay, so I don't even understand how that just happened. So that makes it even more scary.
Yeah, and I mean, like you can look at flash loans, for example. Like if you have a standard ERC20 token, let's just take TrustSwap as an example. There's no kind of like loaning mechanism in there, or TrustSwap or any one of the 1,000 ERC20s. Like you can take loans out on those ERC20s. I'm by no means an expert on flash loans and how they operate, but there's essentially no vulnerability within those 1,000 contracts for flash loans. Like flash loans could potentially be like something external nature. So I guess what I'm saying with this, this platform or ecosystem that we're rolling out with, it secures the internal environment. So if there's something creative that somebody can do through Uniswap that already exists today, you know what I mean? Like, so what I'm saying is, if this vulnerability existed today, then the entire crypto space that run on ERC20s would be at risk, and everything would be getting rugged left, right, and center because this vulnerability is there, so it's going to get exploited. Yeah. So from my understanding, there needs to be certain parameters in contracts for these flash loans to be able to be possible. And so those vectors and verticals and ways of attack will not be possible in this ecosystem. We're said,
at the contract level.
Exactly.
I mean, in my understanding is that the flash loans are essentially like a trade exploit where they're manipulating price oracles to confuse, places that trade certain things. And so I think actually one of the fixes for that is to just use multiple price oracles.
True. Yeah, very true.
Your platform, whatever your place, like where are you pulling that price? Like how the hell does Uniswap know what the price of something is? Well, maybe they're pulling that data from somewhere. Make sure you're just pulling it from multiple sources. So attacking one oracle with like a huge, I'm going to borrow and then dump it just here. And then it's going to trick this thing into thinking that. You just pull from multiple. And I think that's already kind of happening. I'm sure there's a project out there who's building that. I'm positive. It'd be crazy not to. I mean, the first flash loan that happened, they'd be like, oh, there's a problem. Let's get a solution. Fire it off. ICO, have a nice day. Like it's just going to happen. So we'll see. We'll see what pops up this year. I'm sure. And this is what excites me about DeFi. It's like, okay, DeFi, now we've got sort of DeFi 2.0, right? Where these other projects are coming along. We're saying we're going to optimize all these really cool things that you guys are building, and whether that's like for yield optimization. Like I'm going to give a shout out to Yop. Just announced today that they are going to be on PokerStarter for their big IDO coming up. So shout out to those guys, because they're basically going to build this phone app where you can just like plug your wallets in, plug your yield in, and like park it and move around all from one thing. And like that's what I need. Like fuck, I don't have my ledger with me at all times trying to sit here and do all this different stuff, right? So I mean, those kinds of things are going to start popping up more and more this year, and it sounds like you guys are leading the way in many ways.
We're definitely hiring like more and more developers every month, and then all these developers, like now they're on their own like section of that Swiss Army knife. So the ecosystem is growing very, very quickly and exponentially. So,
well, and that's one thing that I've always liked about Swap is that it's not just like, we have one product, we have one token, we have one use case. Like you just kind of create it instantly. Like I got into it, I was like, oh cool, like website looks dope. Like, like it was July, it was kind of like, okay, but then every other week there's like, oh, and we're going to develop this and we're going to, so ecosystem is the word. And that reminds me of things like Ethereum or, Polkadot. Like they're just building bigger things instead of, I always forget what's the name of this one. It was like during the peak ICO season in 2017. And I remember just thinking so absurd. It was like car vertical or something. And they were basically like, we're going to redefine like the car sales world with blockchain. And I just always thought like, oh, anyways.
there was some crazy stuff in the 2017 bull market. I remember it was the peak and this guy pitched me. He's like, yo, check out this website. I think you're really going to like this idea. And so I check out the website and everything's pumping at this stage, like kind of like right near the all-time highs. And it's like, we're putting energy efficient light bulbs on the blockchain. I'm like, this is the top, guys.
Yeah. Tops in. You look left, there's a music video. You know, you look right, the Uber drivers are talking about it.
Yeah.
Bitcoin bucket with KFC. I mean, God, the signs were all there. I was just too new to see them.
Right. So what
but-
are you seeing now in terms of top signals? Because, you know, when you're looking, for me, when I'm looking on Google Trends or looking on traditional news outlets or newspapers, things are starting to heat up, but they're certainly nowhere near the levels of 2017 yet. Or are you seeing something different? What's your opinion there?
Yeah, let's fire up a chart. I'll tell you what I have learned, and it's actually pretty exciting because, well, for two reasons. I'm going to tell you one sec. Okay, I got the TrustSwap site up here. Switch over here. Get this. Okay, just a big old Bitcoin chart. Now look at this. This is what I found so fascinating about. Look, I'll get rid of that stuff. We don't need all this ink, but you don't have to try to call tops, and here's why. And this is why I love fibs. And this is just a quick once over. Anybody here? First of all, shout out to the 77 viewers we have here on YouTube. Thanks for coming, guys, and checking us out. I'm sure most of it is for Jeff because he's so beautiful and he's got so much good stuff to say and share with us today. But if you are here and you're enjoying the content, feel free to shoot us a like. Let us know you like the video. And if you want to sub and stick around, we do 3 streams a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Guests on Monday, Nick and I in the lab on Wednesdays and Thursdays or Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And if you didn't know Nick, you should get to know him. He's been around since 2013. He's an analyst. He's an OG. And he spotted DeFi back in May and said DeFi is going to be huge. We were all over it. We even, quick plug, we even gave out big warning signals around late August saying, guys, I think it's time to pay ourselves. So it's not about, pump my bags. We try to be objective, and we do as much of this like help you learn kind of stuff as possible. Okay. So quick plug on the channel. If you guys are watching and you want to hang around, we'll be here. Now look, Jeff, you asked sort of what are you seeing in the market? What's the top look like? And here's what's fascinating. And you can have false signals, right? I think the signal I'm about to discuss probably actually happened here. And so that was in March. This is actually before I was involved, right? I got in May. But so here on a chart level is what I'm watching. Goes up, goes up, goes up, goes up. Who cares where the top is, right? Because here's what I've learned. When it does reverse, when the big bull turns into a big bear, you're going to have an opportunity, almost certainly, can't guarantee anything, but almost certainly, you're going to have an opportunity on this kind of a retest. And this is why I love trading. And this is why I've learned how to, do TA. And this is why I love the reload zones, which is this colored area of my fib. Because after a huge dump, there's going to be this argument, right? Is it a bull? Is it a bear? Are we done? Are we not? Buy the dippers are going to buy it up. Because for the last year in 2017, they had been taught buy every dip. And then at this kind of level, you're going to have this fight, this battle. And if you want to be a bear, this is where you get short. And it's like sweet spot, uncanny. And then you get your market reversal. And then you have all kinds of opportunities to be a bear. I don't care where the top is. Let it come in, right? Because you're going to have opportunities at those reversals. Fast forward a year later, you get the bottom. Is it a bottom? I don't know. But we had a nice impulse off, some nice volume. We drizzled down into this reload zone. There's your big fight. Oh, look, bulls won the big fight. Now I'm confident getting long, buy the retest, and we're back into a bull. And this kind of shit, it happened in 2019. I don't know where the top is. It might have been a false signal right here if I'm trying to get short, but at the end of the day, we came in, top came in, big battle up in the reload zone, great spot to think bear if you're trying to be a bear, right? So just learning this kind of stuff. And yes, it happened again at the bottom this March. This is where I told my mom to buy Bitcoin this day because you get the big bounce off the bottom. I don't know if it's a bottom or not, but I'll tell you, I'm interested in this retest because if it is a bull, this is the perfect spot to get entered, right? You can just risk to the lows.
Mm-hmm.
And so this, when you ask me, like, what do you see? So that's, context now. Do I see that here? No, not yet. And I like to use a daily. Ideally, you could even use a weekly. But
that weekly chart's going to look great.
yeah. The weekly chart is, I know a lot of traders like, yeah, boing, 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 like it just reminds me of like Beavis and Butthead where he's just,
exactly.
But this is just a big erect chart. I know a lot of traders who are, getting nervous up here in the sense that, they're not saying it's a top. They're certainly not rushing to short it, but they're not buying $30,000 Bitcoin after, all this time. Like, to be fair, a lot of them were buying in these kinds of levels, and now it's just like ride it out, take a little profit, roll it into some altcoins, like have your fun. But when this does top, wherever that may be, it will take weeks, unless it's like some insano blow off top, whatever price. Like generally speaking, this kind of thing, like even here, but it failed to break down, right? It it will take some time. And so, when I wake up this morning, half expecting, to be honest, this big dump, because as you can see here, like I just, you get the close and it's like, oh God, we're probably going to dump into the open just so they can rebalance everything. But look, no. So I don't see a top yet. I think when it comes in again, there'll be opportunities to see that coming from a TA perspective. And I just don't see it yet. So just kind of enjoying the ride.
Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful ride. That's for sure. Yeah.
I mean, you could. I
like to play these channels too, because if you have if you're drawing lines on all the tops and all the bottoms, like the channels play out perfectly. And whether it's this crazy Bitcoin pump or other coins, TAs, like they're always pretty channely. Like the tops and bottoms are always finding this little zigzag, and that's where I like to play my sweet spot, just playing those little pumps.
Yeah, I mean that's what's fascinating about TA is, and like a lot of people, they say TA doesn't work because I saw a time where it didn't work perfectly. Look, it doesn't work for everybody, right? And what I'm doing might not make any sense to anyone. And it just, I went to this TRI school. There's like 12 weeks, 3 levels. That's like what, 20, 32, I don't know, I can't count, but it was like 32 levels, and there's just all different tools, and you just pick the one that makes sense to you. And I'm just like Mr. Fibs, when I see Fibs now, and I see this, I say, oh, that's normal for it to come back to what I call the pump chaser zone. And look at that dump. Like just tag and go. I mean, that's, I didn't even know that. I didn't even notice that yet, but like, there's your Monday dump. I mean, for everyone FOMOing this weekend, if they had said like, not that I give financial advice, but like, RT, like, should I buy? Like, hell no. But if you must buy smart, park your bids in the pump chaser zone. And that's why I came up with this, because I know most people just, myself included, like they want to get in, they want to buy. And I say, okay, well, look, no matter what, if you have a big rally, you're going to get a visit to the pump chaser zone at some point. It's just facts. So yeah, sorry, I got really excited there because
totally. No, it's good. That's
tagged so beautifully. Like,
yeah,
people are like, oh, like TA doesn't work. It's like, that's interesting because this is exactly where the buyers outweighed the sellers, and then what a perfect entry. So I didn't trade that.
Well, I'll tell you what, like I feel one of the biggest reasons why TA works is because everybody is looking at it, and it's kind of like, well, what gives Bitcoin value? What gives currency value? It's that we all agree that it does. So when you see the price action narrowing down on this flag, and then all this, or a wedge, I don't know what the correct terminology there is when it narrows down, and then it finally breaks out. It's like, well, everyone's waiting for that breakout, or when it breaks out of, I think, the flag is the one with the two parallel lines. Like everyone's watching for these breakouts, and so when it does break out, then you do see these big moves. So
well, exactly. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's endlessly fascinating. You look at this as a kid. I always looked at these charts. You see something about the stock market, like, oh, boring, dusty, like, but then I realized it's like human psychology
exactly
painted on a chart. And once this candle prints, like that's locked in there for history forever. Somebody in 50 years can go back, and on December 2020, on the 20th, they're going to see this big red candle. Like that's history. And so I just find it fascinating. And it's about eking out an edge, right? If you can find something you can do consistently on a chart and have reasons to do it, and bang out a 60% win rate, and you're risking X versus how much you get each time, like blah, blah, blah. You get that whole package. You can definitely find a way to make money with it. So, but I think it starts with fundamentals. And that's what I got away from this year in all my TA is I was just like staring at charts, and guys were coming on the stream and they say, check out Rook, check out Badger, check out these. And I knew like all these DeFi things, all I can do is look at a chart. I have no idea what the tokenomics are, what the inflation models are. And so I've recently kind of returned back to my roots, which is reading up on actual projects.
Yeah.
And that's refreshing because TA doesn't work in the absence of good tokenomics. Like,
totally.
There's so many examples of coins that just kind of fall away. Let's go back to the studio here, John. So many examples of coins that just like bleed out indefinitely. And there's nothing you can do because the miners or the stakers, like there's just so much inflation, and there's no, you'd have to have an insane amount of demand counter that, so charts won't be there. But yeah, we'll see. That's my rant for today, I think. Let's check the chat real quick. I know we're getting to the top of the hour. I'm sure you have like 17 calls. I mean, I got so many calls going on these days, and I don't run projects. So, I can imagine where you're at, and appreciate your time. But yeah, we're getting some good feedback here, so that's really good. Some guys are enjoying the content. Appreciate that, Aurelia and Rex and Maxime. We got Fibonacci Tactics. Yeah. Rhythm Mini Head. Reading names live on stream is right up there with doing attendance as a supply teacher, which I used to do.
Yeah.
It's right up there. Maybe higher stakes here. That's it. I think that's it for our chat. So any final thoughts? I mean, I'm assuming you got to go top of the hour. I'm far be it for me to kick you out of here.
No, I mean, I have a little flex, but like an hour and a bit is good for me. But
perfect.
So, it probably wrap up thoughts. I mean, the things that TrustSwap has coming, like that's obviously where 100% of my focus has been over the last little while, is just really building out the Swiss Army knife of that crypto ecosystem that is TrustSwap. January is huge. And if people, I would really encourage them to go check out the Twitter feed, to pop into Telegram or Discord and read the updates that we have coming for January, because they're not small little updates. January is an absolutely monumental month for us. And I think, as we're talking about this security platform is one of the things, and even Swappable is a really cool thing as well. There's some things that are actually going to shift the crypto landscape a little bit. I think the security platform will shift it immensely. And I think Swappable will be something cool. And OTC transactions, I think people really underestimate the amount of volume that gets pushed through on OTC transactions. There's millions upon millions upon millions of dollars every day, tens of millions.
Yeah, I would argue some of the biggest transactions are OTC.
Exactly. Well, exactly. Like how did Michael Saylor get in with his $1 billion or
doubt he did it on Binance.
That's exactly right. So you have all these OTC trades. So that's the market that we're trying to capture, is this really high volume, and then offering them a trustless way to do that with very, very competitive fees. In fact, the most competitive there is. And so that's what we're trying to really focus in on with this marketplace is, okay, how can we offer public OTC trades so that people can, post on a marketplace saying, hey, I'm looking to sell off $2 million. Here are the terms. Or privately. And so that's what we're playing with right now, is how can we structure Swappable? And we're also going to have a freshly branded thing for the that more professional high volume OTC trade as well. Because, Swappable is fun, it's NFTs, but we really want to focus in on all these separate niches. So we really are excited to crush it with those high volume trades. And then I think, everyone's excited about the security platform just because I think in crypto, a lot of things, unfortunately, is about how much noise you can generate, how much exposure you have. Like it's all a marketing game, it seems like at times.
Which is a lot of the time.
Yeah, which is bittersweet, because it's bitter because, I'd rather just build things, but it's sweet because I don't know, I know the game, so then you can just play it when you know the rules and you can play it well. But anyways, the security play, I think, is going to be amazing for marketing because, like I say, I think anticipate a very large portion of new ERC20 projects are going to sign up for this because there will be no reason not to. And I think it'll become a gold standard and demanded by participants in that token ecosystem, especially if it's an anonymous team. I can say this, there will be no reason not to use this protocol. So
and then you can challenge them, and just when they're a new project and be like, hey, do you want to go on here? And if they won't, there's your red flag during your due diligence, right? And if you can create that narrative where like, hey, why don't you have that TrustSwap approval stamp, at the bottom corner of your page? And that'll be a valuable stamp to have, and it'll probably be faked at some point, right? Some shitty website will be like, validated by TrustSwap, and you guys will have to get on that and be like, no, they're full of shit. So maybe you could get that written in the blockchain.
It will be
show us their transaction.
So there'll be a full page that shows all the projects, what services they've used, what they've signed up for. So anybody can upload the logo to their webpage, sure, but then anybody will be able to verify by just going to this page, searching the name, boom, it'll pop up. It'll say what they've signed up for, what percentage is locked in liquidity, what percentage of tokens are locked, and which of the X's that they've been able to check.
Hey, take it a step further and get those vesting schedules on there. Ooh,
Oh, 100%. I mean,
that's good data.
we
I
have
love
that
data.
with team finance. Oh, I see. Like, for example, like a token sale vesting schedule is
Like
what you're
imagine you could take a token
saying.
and be like, hey, we're going to give you the dates. I mean, maybe that has to be submitted by the team and that could be part of their application.
Right.
Like, hey, so we're going to let everyone know who's using and trading and holding this token every single time there's going to be a major release of tokens, how much, what day it's hitting the market. I mean, that's data that's hard to find. Maybe I
Yeah,
should let you just not put that on there because we find it anyways, but it is hard to find. So if you aggregate that, that's valuable data.
for sure. And I mean, that's
Would
a
like that.
very good idea. The only thing is, that's something that can be faked. Like a project can submit that data and it's not on the blockchain, so it's
That's a
unverifiable.
good point. And if it changed, it would tarnish perhaps the trust. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
thinking, too far about this one for the
No,
scope of
no,
exactly.
it's a really good idea because
That's
I
a
think,
data point I want. Yeah.
yeah, because where can you go to find all the information that's
Yeah.
going to be 100% accurate? And so we can provide a platform that has all the information, but if we're starting to do like vesting schedules and things like that, will it be 100% accurate? No, because people can lie. So
Yeah.
the kind of the fix that we have is, well, if there's a vesting schedule, use our software. And we have, actually, I didn't even mention this yet. So yeah, I'll leak it because it's already out there in the wild. But so this is a leak. Nobody knows that we're building this yet or that we're going to be implementing it. But right now, with all the pre-sales that we've done on the launch pad, you look at Coin, you look at Yield, you look at MobiPay, Orbit, whatever. There's been, okay, we're releasing the tokens on this day at this time. So there's a big release, a big airdrop. And then what happens when that airdrop goes out? It's a dump. It's a dump.
Yeah.
Everyone dumps it because, or not everyone, but like a lot of people will sell. So what if rather than issuing out airdrops, let's say you're like, okay, listen, you're going to get 100,000 tokens issued over 100 days. So what we now have is you're being issued X amount of tokens every hour. And they're not being sent to you, but they're in a portal where you can claim the tokens. So you can say like, hey, listen, I want to, I've accrued, I don't know, 4,000 tokens now. It's worth the gas fees. Boom, withdraw. So you're always getting the tokens every hour. And that's going to mitigate that big airdrop sell pressure where it crushes the charts. Everybody's waiting in fear. That'll be a non-event anymore because now people will just understand that there will be no large sell event because everyone is withdrawing on their own schedule based on their own subjective opinion on when it's worth it for gas. And so it'll just be this really nice fluid chart. And to kind of bring it all home, once we have that implemented, there won't be a reason to not use a system like this. If people want to use Cliff vesting or XYZ, like we also offer those solutions. So you can then have your vesting schedule immutably in the blockchain. And then for sure, yeah, we can, like that data is verifiable already on our platforms. And once we get that new system in place, you'll also be able to see that as well.
Beautiful. Yeah. I mean, this is what I love about what you guys are doing over there is you've just thinking about all this new shit and innovating fast and iterating fast and moving on. And it sounds like you're championing quite a few different issues that each token runs into as part of your Launchpad offering. So could not be more excited about it. I'm sad to say I look at this chart today. I'm like, damn it. We had this interview 2 weeks ago. And
you would have looked like a genius.
We'd have been right in my buy zone. We were sitting in the reload zone. Now I'm just looking at it like, okay, where's my dip? Like, as a trader, I have rules. Obviously, I've still got like a little bag that I've just been kind of collecting dust on because that's just what you do when you have a free bag. You just don't worry about it for a year or two, hopefully. But sorry, not free. I should clarify since you're on the call. Not free like it was given to me for this stream. Free because I sold enough that I got my initial back, so the rest is money. But just to be clear on that. But yeah, I'm liking to look at this chart. I know you're not. I'm not going to feed a comment or fish a comment from you on price, but you got me all bullish now. So I'm going to go look at it. The chart obviously speaks to exactly what you're talking about. It has shot up. Ooh, a good 60% in the last couple of days. So I got to take a look at that and just find my way in. I'm patient. I waited this long. But I'll find a little setup on there because, just as a fanboy, like of the project, it's something I'm comfortable with. I like it. I like where you're going. And fundamentally speaking, it's where these kinds of ideas and big ecosystem plays is where I want to be looking. So I'm really excited about Swappable. Actually, I'm going to use it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a no-brainer. Lower fees. The UI is going to be super nice, clean. There will be, let me put it this way. There will be no reason to use OpenSea or Rarible when Swappable goes out. We're going to have all the features, lower fees, beautiful UI, and additional features. So all you have to do is just type a different word into your URL browser and you're good to go.
Beauty. Well, that's excellent. You know what? It's the start of potentially an alt season. We might be seeing, there's a lot of TA to cover, a lot of price action. So as we get to the top of your time window here, I'm gonna give a shout out to the chat, guys. We are going to stay live unless the producer says no in the next 2 seconds, because he has something to go and do. You good? All right, let's keep it going, boys. So we'll take a little break. We're gonna say goodbye to Jeff. We're gonna take like a 2-minute break. Just gonna get up, stretch for a second, run to the bathroom, maybe grab a little snack. 2 minutes, and we'll be back on, and we'll just go through a few charts. If you guys have any requests in the chat, I see lots of people here. Let's dig into it. I see somebody talking about Serum. Personally, I'd like to look at some charts. I don't, got a few stable coins sitting around. Let's see if we can find it. Final thoughts, Jeff, when it comes to trading, obviously you're just mostly focused on all that stuff. And the business you're building. But when it comes to participating in the market, where do you see the alpha going into 2021?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I'm biased, crazy biased, but I also think it's objectively true. You can look at Bitcoin, and we were talking about this beforehand, but I'll just kind of say it on the stream as well. And, Bitcoin could go to 100K. I think that's, a pretty reasonable target that I have set for this run. Based on absolutely nothing, just based on psychological resistance. But that's about a 2x. Now, I mean, this is of course a tender area with regulatory words and things like that. But when you participate in trust swap launch pads, what are the odds of certain results happening?
You're doing well.
Versus waiting for Bitcoin to hit $100,000. So I really see that for people to be able to really capitalize effectively and de-risk in the current market conditions are these pre-sales, which do, and it doesn't have to just be trust swap. You know what I mean? Like you have DuckDAO, you have Polkastarter going. I think trust swap out of the three has the far superior system and methodology, and the fairest one as well. But I mean, I'm crazy biased on that, so don't listen to me.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. But I think in a nutshell, like what you're saying is, like some of these pre-sales, these new projects is what you're eyeing mostly for your own sort of decision making in the market, perhaps.
100%. You just got to find the right ones to get into, because there's so many coming out. Like, for example, on trust swap, we'll get pitched 50, 100 times a month, and then we'll accept one. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of garbage out there, and I think that's why these whether it's trust swap or DuckDAO or Polkastarter, or I think YFDAI does it as well. Check out what those
DAO Maker,
yeah. I haven't seen the quality that they've put out, so I can't vouch for them.
Orion Protocol came.
Were they? Okay,
and
cool.
Elrond,
very cool.
Elrond, yeah.
All right, well then that's legit. Those are all pretty good projects.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see that as being just a very, for the people who are like, I want to just keep my gains, keep my portfolio. I don't want to have to have this crazy risk on scenario where, I'm like 50% Bitcoin when it's at $50,000, and is it going to dump? What's going to happen? Is my portfolio going to crash? I think, being even stablecoin heavy I'm pretty bullish on ETH right now, but stablecoin heavy, getting in on the pre-sales as they're relevant. I think that's just a strong move, to be honest, because they're pretty tried and true when they go through the adequate vetting process of these different launch pads.
Yeah. Okay. So bullish on launchpad projects into 2021. And I got to say, I'm right there with you. For the first time in a long time, I have kind of seen the light as far as stablecoins, because you can post liquidity. You can do all these things. You stay liquid so that if there is a crazy dip, you're like, oh man, that was a weird dip. That's probably bullshit. I'm going to buy that. You just have options. And I was thinking about it today. Like, even if you own one Bitcoin, and then this is not a bash on Bitcoin. If you guys are long and strong Bitcoin, go for it. But if you have one Bitcoin, just the overnight price action, you're down 4K. And that's cool. We've just come so far, right? So for anyone, I know I'm going to get so much hate for that. They'll be like, bro, we're up 10X. We're allowed to pull back 30%. And I'm with you on that. I have some Bitcoin. But my point is, to go along with what you're saying, is those stable coins are right where they were. And I got to say, the majority of what I did in 2017 and still from 2020 was from pre-sales. Because like you said, some of these are just coming out, you go get them and then they come out, it's like a 5X, you get a partial unlock of your token. You recoup your initial, and now like every quarter you're just getting a chunk of tokens. And if the market stays hot, great. If not, no, they're still worth something. So I'm with you, man. I think that's a really good, strong play. And then the challenge becomes how to vet these projects. So like you said, being on a launch pad, the job is essentially done for you. You guys vet them. So I just sign up, and I can kind of trust that when I'm buying something on those pre-sales, at the very least, the product is okay and like the team is strong. It's not like, these non-devs that maybe are just cloning something and exiting. So that removes a layer of risk. And then beyond that, it's about getting in, because I know a lot of these, they're so friggin' hard to get in. And then there's like a smaller personal cap, and that's just the nature of demand, right? So, but really glad you shared that with us, because we're so TA heavy here, and it's, buy, sell. And I love that. I do that. But for 2021, I'm actually going to be doing that with like 25% of my portfolio, because a chunk of it, I just like you said, flipping pre-sales and working and then you can also work with the team. You're early, right? It's recoup your initial, but then ride it out and promote them and work with them and hopefully believe in them and actually use them. So
and it helps you sleep at night big time, because like you say, the reality is, if you had a Bitcoin, you did lose $4,000 because you could have sold there and locked it. And so, that's where I see the value with the pre-sales, because, you're almost, I won't comment too hard, but
you can't say anything like you're locked in. I know, like, I won't get you to say that. And actually, I can't even say that either. Nothing's guaranteed, but I'll tell you what, when you're in the right market conditions, which right this minute we are, these things come out auto 5x, 3x, 2x or more. And we saw it, and this is the disclaimer I always feel like I have to put in. We saw in 2018, Icon was like 2017. Icon was like crazy. It was like a 3, I forget what it was, but it was some kind of limit, and I put in a chunk of it thinking like, oh, that's a lot. Like, I'm a little nervous. It took 2 months to come out. It traded to like 120x in the first like 3 weeks. And me being young noob, like I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I'm going to hold for a bit. But we saw very quickly, like that was the flavor of the end of the year. We saw very quickly in 2018 where people are taking those gains and they're now aping into these new ICOs and pre-sales. But there was just a bear market. And so as soon as they launched, it was like rush to sell. And so you have to just be cognizant of market cycles. Right now we're in a bull. If I get into a pre-sale right now that's launching in 3 months, I lose a little bit of my excitement. Like, I'm a little more risk. If I get something, they're like, yo, we're launching in a week. I'm like, boom, like sign me up. Like, let's go. So just being aware of market cycles, because these pre-sales are so hot right now. And I'm with you. I'm going to be hunting them all year. But when that psychology shifts, they will too.
Yes,
I guess 100% agree. But in the meantime, you're sitting in stable coins. Maybe you find a place to post some liquidity. Maybe you're just getting a nice little APY with swappable and this stuff you're building. I will feel more comfortable perhaps posting liquidity on some of these finance plays, .finance. And then you wake up, you get a couple $100 like extra just from sitting there posting LP. So lots of ways to play. The only thing you can do to fuck it up is risk too much going for it in a short time frame.
That's it.
And so we're going to go back to that every day, all day. Just don't fuck up the risk management, guys. If you just don't do that, you can just coast or go up on like the high enough time frame. I mean, I can't say you won't lose little bits here and there. I've had bad weeks. I've had bad months. But the equity curve over time, if you just have a good practice around not losing,
that's it.
You'll be all right. I think that's the last thing I could say that's like close to a guarantee. Manage risk first. You'll probably be all right.
I agree there.
Dude, there's my long rant for the end of the day, but like this conversation's been great. I think I love you, Jeff.
It's been an awesome talk. I really enjoyed it.
Need to have you back on here. You guys are obviously doing so many different things. So what do you say, like 2-3 months out, we'll give you some time to develop. We'll come back in. We'll see where the market's at. That'll be Q2. Typically alt seasons happen in Q2 of 20, whatever year you are, even in the bear market, April, May, June, July. So I'm going to hold you to it, Jeff. I know you didn't agree just now, but we're going to get you back on here a little later in the year. Looking forward to it.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, perfect, man. Well, thanks for coming by and giving us a shout for your January barometer. Now, you know what, guys? I love you too, Stefan C. over in the chat. Good to see you, brother. Guys, we're going to take a 2-minute break as Jeff takes off. Busy guy, got lots to do. I'm going to go take 2 seconds. away from the computer, and then come back in, and we'll just focus on TA for maybe like 30, 40 minutes, whatever we can find. And let's see if we can find some value in all these altcoins and take a look about what's coming up. So get your chart requests ready. I'm genuinely looking at a lot of these charts for the first time. I want to find some juicy alt setups. But Jeff, thank you for coming today. And yeah.
Appreciate the time.
Yeah. Cheers. You too, brother. We will be back in 2 minutes. Back live in the studio. Okay, part two, guys. Because as much as I love bringing on guests, which I do, it's a big part of what we do here, and we want to get different discussions, different point of views. Like I said, love chatting with Jeff and what they're doing over at TrustSwap. But then I get to the end of the stream, and I'm like, but it's alt season, and I want to talk about these coins and these charts. And obviously, bringing Jeff on to spend the whole time doing that would be a waste of his time and what we could otherwise discuss with guys like him. So here we are, little part 2 follow-up. I know some people say like streams shouldn't be too long, but I don't care, because you know what I'm going to do when I get off this stream? If I didn't do this second part, I'm going to go scan a bunch of altcoins and look at them. So let's do it together. Fuck it. We're in the lab. I'm here all day. But for the producer's sake, we'll probably keep this to the top of the hour. So we got 36 minutes. Let's dive into this stuff, guys. Freaking alt season. Let's get over the charts. I'm trying my standing desk here for the first time. Let's see how that ages. Okay, first things first. We just talked about trust swap all day. Again, always feel a little uncomfortable if you have somebody on here who's like the founder of a token, and then you're like talking to them about their token, because you can't really, and he acknowledged that. And like, I mean, ultimately, we don't talk about Hxro token ever on the stream. Like there's these boundaries, right? But he's gone now. So let's talk about trust swap. It is not in the reload zone anymore. So what are some options? Well, you can see here, because I do, like, after having that conversation, I'm like, shit, I genuinely wish that we had connected and had that exact chat right here. Because that's easy for me, right? It's a no-brainer. I see it. It's sitting in a reload zone, within a reload zone, right down at 44 cents. I mean, that's like just naturally, I don't even care what the token is. That's like an asset I can look at. Okay, so now it's coming to January. They've got obviously a ton coming up, lots of hype. I don't care if I get the bottom or the top. What I care when I'm in a trade is that I catch it going in the right direction and I get in from a place where I can measure and balance risk. So if I buy here, which is arguably resistance, then I have a really hard time measuring risk, because what if, and anything can happen. Probability is probably that this is going to go up. But what if it's like, oh, Bitcoin rolled over, Trump is like battling Biden in the White House and there's all this chaos and everything just takes a little breather. And then it's like, ooh, and then we go. Right? What do I measure my risk to here? Well, like Nick always talks about this too, right? Expansion trades. So like the idea here is like you're longing at resistance. So again, purely on a TA basis, like suddenly I'm like down here, that's crazy. And then get my risk reward up to a place where I like it. I mean, this actually still kind of works if you really wanted to do that, but I'll tell you what, this level creates an opportunity for me. So if it blasts through, it probably won't be light and easy. It'll probably go something crazy, right? Maybe even up to the sweet spot, but there, right? And now I have a nice tight risk window. For now, I think I'd probably be trading this on Uniswap. So unless I'm using like a bot site or like 1inch, maybe like, okay, limit orders, stop losses, but that's generally what I'm thinking here. So, jokingly speaking, I'm like, yo, I'll buy this at $1, but not from the underside of that dollar. I'll buy it and it comes back to $1. And I am risking just missing the whole goddamn train as ever. But like I said, I still have a little bag of swap tokens somewhere. And, from a trade perspective, that's just what I see. Now let's get into a few different coins. That was my long take on this just because we covered it today. So wash the dishes, cook some pasta, ready for RT's TA. Oh, Sohail, good to have you, brother. Yeah, let's get into it. Number one thing everyone should be watching this year, I think, from a barometer of the market is DOT. If DOT is not doing well, something's wrong in crypto, because DOT, parachains, interoperability, massive project, huge implications, massive volume starting on December 28th off the bottom. If this gets into some bearish market structure and is trending down, that's trouble. I have a position. I longed it somewhere in this consolidation this weekend. I was like, fuck it, I just need to get some back because I had some earlier around $4 or $5, and then sold it at like $6, like made a trade, but I didn't have like my bag. So I've got my bag of DOT. I don't know that I'm really going to worry about day-to-day fluctuations. I just think it's like over the year, if there's some ridiculous washout, I just think DOT is just going to crush it. But, there's a lot to be said for USD pair risk, right? I mean, are we in a consolidation? Are we in a reload zone? No. In fact, we're at a fib extension. So is it the best place to be buying? Nope. I think this pump chaser zone is probably a really good option. I think this level, if you could get it, we do kind of have some kind of any rollover, that'd be great. But look at this volume. So, do I ape in here with all my bags? No, but I definitely took a position on the BTC pair. That's a really key point too. Actually, that's actually what I wanted to talk about today. Maybe we only have time. This is a really good time to understand your strategy, because I think that there's actually a lot of altcoins that could lose value versus USDT in the next little bit, but go up in BTC terms. And so you got to know what you're trading against. This is a really good time to ask yourself that question. Like, if you don't give a shit how much money everything's worth and you just want to make more Bitcoin, I think we just entered into a very sexy moment, right? Where this exploded, high volume. I mean, if I needed any sign that this inevitably will be like the bottom of this trend, this little downtrend for ETH BTC, I think we've got that confirmation. Seems like the whole world just swapped their friggin' Bitcoins for ETH, like it's time. However, if things are measured in Bitcoin and they are going up in Bitcoin value, and during that time, Bitcoin decides to like do something like this, you may end up with a scenario like we had in 2018, like we had in 2019, where your altcoin is way up in Bitcoin value, but it's like even or even down a little in USD value. That's fine. Stack your sats. That's what it's all about, right? But just know your strategy. Understand what you want out of this. This is bearish market structure. There's no two ways about it. In fact, like I said earlier, it's the first bearish market structure we've had in quite a little while. So personally, I think this is a huge level. I've been saying for weeks, it would be crazy to me if it never got retested. Is this test coming up? Do we consolidate here and then just continue? Who knows? But stack your sats, know your strategy, understand what you're looking for. And if you are trading against US dollars and that's all you care about stacking, which is fine, to be honest, that's mostly what I'm doing, then you should be doing all your charts against USD. And so when I look at DOT versus USD, not exactly in my buy zone. It's at a fib extension. I want to wait on a little pullback, whether I get it or not. But if I'm stacking sats, which in this trade I am, because it's the better chart, I can take some Bitcoin and throw it into DOT here. Sure. Looks like it's going to explode. Look at this fucking volume. Anyways, so there's my rant, guys. Yeah, as long as we keep making higher lows, did the same thing. Just worried about buying dips. Long as no lower lows. Yeah. Taj Thomas. I mean, at the end of the day, trading is just about having your strategy. It's very tricky to copy. But as we do, we go and look for ideas from other people and we discuss and we share ideas. And that's what we're about to do right here. So let's take a look at CFI with one of our requests. Maha catching a nice bid today. It's already on my screen, but let's go over to CFI. I have a bag of this, full disclosure. Got in at the pre-sale. And this one is just kind of hovering. It's actually looking pretty decent as far as like structure goes. Again, right? Loving things like this where they're like, popped up, reload zone, react. I mean, at the very least, I know as a trader where I'm no longer interested in this. I get nervous when we lose lows because we've created sort of a level here. Pretty obvious level, if you ask me, right? You can just see right here. So this looks great as far as like location. And then you just got to ask yourself, I mean, to some extent, okay, we put in a higher low, but we've got a lower low, a lower low, a lower low. So you do want to see some enthusiasm from the bulls here. Stepping in at like 220 is a pretty safe entry as far as a trade goes. And then getting a little bit risk off if we start to get into that like sub 190, 180 area. And that's cool. And if this thing needs to cool off and shake out and, like whatever, like markets will be markets. If whatever it needs to do, it'll do. I think I like to buy W's and I like to buy them in low areas on the chart. And that's what we got right here. So there was already a really nice trade right here. www.breakout retest. So, it's a little concerning. We broke out, retest, breakdown. Arguably a bearish retest here. So there could be a little downside in the works here, but this is just a key area in general. You got to keep an eye on basically resistance, support. So we're stuck in this little range for CFI. Where that's going to go, find out. I think they got their alpha coming out, new product release coming up pretty shortly, and what they're building has a very measurable use case in DeFi. So fundamentally, I'm pretty bullish on these guys. I'm not selling the tokens I have anywhere in this area. I'm just holding them, so we'll see. TVK. Never heard of this one, so excuse my newbiness. Let's learn about it. Terra Virtua. Let's make sure we're getting the right one. Terra Virtua Collect. This sounds like maybe an NFT thing. Okay. Terra Virtua. But like, yeah, you can't search by contract. Okay. Let's take a look here. Here's the thing. So you have TVK, but then there's so many pairs. So if somebody could, this is what I usually do. So we'll say, okay, 7 cents, 7.4 cents. So to find the right one, I just need to find the one that's trading around that. As you can see, there's like a 1 cent one here. That's weird. There, looks like this is it. There we go. Life hacks with ChartX Pro. Wow. Okay. Got an uptrend. Don't mind that. So as we come into these new highs, I'm watching volume. I'm looking to see, is there more buyers at the highs pushing us higher, or is it like falling off and we're just on this like afterburner from the initial impulse? I don't see rising volume, but that's a 1 hour. Let's look at the 4. Ooh, yeah. I mean, this high came in on volume that is equal to or slightly less than, but pretty close. I mean, so not too concerning with the volume. Chart looks pretty good. I mean, whatever. It's in an uptrend. I wouldn't, where do you buy if you're in an uptrend? You buy the dip. In this case, like a pump chaser zone, right? Where exactly? Part of your plan. So now kind of moving up, following this thing up, arguably should just have the entire range on this thing. So where can I be a buyer on TVK? According to my plan, right around 6.2 cents. That's not the same as saying I think it'll go there, but if it does go there, that's when I get to be like, oh, I can buy that. Fits my plan. 382. Because if it's a really strong trend, and we see this all the time, if you guys are on the show, like you just see that all the time, right? Where really strong trend, and it might even be like whatever, right into the pump chaser zone. But then if it's a really strong trend, and then if you lose that, it's like, okay, that trend is over. We're going to consolidate. Probably just end up, so the first stop for the bulls is here. And then it's like, oh, now we're getting into the reload zone. And I mean, you see that with so many big coins, right? Doesn't matter how sexy they are. Look at friggin' Trust Swap. Doesn't matter if it was a bull or a bear. This thing had to unwind, get back into that reload zone. But for now, wouldn't say that's really going to happen. It's just that would be the next thing. For now, we've broken out of this level, retested it, and we're moving. So let's see. If you're already in it, you're in an uptrend. Congratulations. Looking good. What else we got? NFT project, buy the dips. Yeah. Follow them on Twitter. Okay. Taj, you've piqued my interest. TVK. I'm gonna look into it. I'm a fan of NFT stuff. I'd like to build an NFT basket as much as I'd like to build a Polkadot basket, as much as I would like to build I'd say a DeFi basket, but that's pretty broad. But yeah, I'm all about those index baskets, and I think NFTs is one I'm very keen on. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. Which one are we looking at? LGCY. Okay. LGCY for maximum weirdness. 51 cents. I find that the real ones tend to be at the bottom, but I could be wrong. Is it Legacy Coin or LGCY Network? Let's try both. Holy shit. Is it that one? Yeah, let's take a look at Rook. Keep hearing about it. I've got some. Obviously not such a big bag that I'm bringing it all day biting my nails, but holy shit. What is this LGCY? Joseph Lerma. Is this what you're talking about, dude? Because if you have this from November, oh my God, what a nice rally you guys have had. Love it. Whoa. What just happened there? Okay, we're going to delete that and try again. Boop-a-doo, buying the W breakout for 630%. Not bad. Sick rally. And, like, watch for the volume. Really nice volume through here. Nice little pullback, retrace. Probably a pump chaser zone kind of thing. Yeah, right into the PCZ. And then continuing up. So as we make into these new highs, just keep an eye on this volume. You're going to need a lot of buyers to push this thing to new highs. If you get like a big old stinky drive up here and then you look down and there's no real volume behind it, pay yourself. Because, not financial advice, but that's my strategy. If there's a lot of volume pouring in, you're like, holy shit, I'm sitting on a rocket ship. Like, perfect example, DOT. That is massive volume. Is that a massive move? Not really. So when the volume outweighs the move, you're in a pretty good spot. When the move is outweighing the volume, should send up a red flag. It's a good tip for you guys. One that I've learned the hard way so many times. So if you can skip learning it the hard way, I've done my job. Now let's take a look at some more. Could please talk about YOP? Okay, yeah. So you know what? We can definitely touch on YOP. Nick and I are both early investors in YOP, and we've been helping them, from top to bottom, building up everything right up until today's announcement. So we will do some streaming about YOP, Sohail. On the spot, this exact moment, let's see. I mean, I'll do a quick mention because you asked and because it is pretty exciting. I want to see their new website. They're basically just announced today that they're partnering with PokerStarter for their IDO launch, which is great. Let's go down and see the website. I mean, I'm excited to use it. It's like, I like investing in things that go up in price because they make me money. But more than that, I like investing in things that are like, oh shit, like we need this because I want this, and I want, like in that sense is why I like it. It's basically going to be this app that aggregates everything you need for yield farming and all that kind of stuff. Not, farmers market, swap decks, YOP wallet, so you can just kind of store stuff here. Basically just this platform, and then the tokens, some use case built into it as well. So obviously, that was our number one thing when we started. We said, look guys, if you're going to build this and you're going to build this token, we've got to find ways to drive demand to the token as the demand for the product grows. And I think they've done a really good job of that. So I'm excited about it. And the other thing that we insisted on that we're also pretty keen on is that we wanted to make sure that the private sale, which is where we got in, was the same price as the future token sale, which was the same price as the seed round. Like everyone should get in at the same level. That was important to us, and it's important to them. So it's 5 cents at the pre-sale. I think it's fairly limited on PokerStarter, so I think it'll be sort of like a whitelist lottery. But check it out; it's really dope. It should launch, and then wherever it launches, there's opportunities to trade it. Obviously, I don't even like trading things when they have a very new chart. I much prefer waiting until you have lots of data. So yeah, we're going to be charting the shit out of it when it's live, which will be in a few weeks. So pretty pumped. Yeah. And I agree. Stefan, the website does look pretty dope, and it's a satisfying looking app. And obviously working with the founders and stuff, pretty impressed with their just general cut of their jib, boy. It's quite attractive. So yeah, bullish on YOP, and that's why I tweeted it and invested in it. So let's go back to some charts. Yeah, and for what it's worth, guys, like I was not paid to talk about them. You guys asked about it. Like I am certainly invested in it, but also that had nothing to do with this channel. It's not like, hey, we'll get a guy from this channel to invest. So just full disclosure. Never once in my life taken pay to talk about something on YouTube. And if I ever did, I will tell you guys about it. I'll brag about it. I'll be like, hey guys, I made it. But for now, try to keep it organic. And if I'm invested in stuff, I'm always telling you about it. Because honestly, I just don't like that shit. Like if something's good and you're going to tell me about it and it's good, tell me about it. If something's like meh, but you're getting paid to tell me about it and you're telling me it's good because you're getting paid, fuck that. I don't do that. Let's go take a look at, no shout on those who do, but I do not. Let's go take a look at my short list here. AVAX. I'm interested in it as a platform. Avalanche, I think $250,000 for the scale of what they're kind of doing. I see them as one of the more of those ecosystem plays. Really shitty PA out of the gates. But this big buy volume coming in excites me. I think I'm watching this thing closely. I would like to get some for the year, kind of up there with like Polkadot. Obviously not at that scale, but like it's in that ballpark for me. So I'm watching it. It's still a downtrend, lower lows, kind of boring, but got a W here off the lows, big volume. So this is a dip that I am keeping an eye on. Yeah, like 618, didn't buy that one, but like generally speaking, it's a pullback that I'm really keen on, and we'll see where this goes this year. But a little birdie on my shoulder said, don't take your eyes off Avalanche. It should have a really good year. So for passive investment purposes, I will be buying a bag and probably just writing it off right away and not looking at it, because I don't really want to sweat like stop losses and shit. I just want to have some. Throw your requests in the chat, guys. If you're curious about different things, I can slap some sexiness on them as best I can. Otherwise, I'm going to keep looking through my bags, because these are the things I am actively looking at. I've got a position here on Bell. Let's just see. Kind of one that I was bullish on last month, came up, lots of nice buy volume, snuck back into this reload zone. Risk to these lows. If you want to take smaller size, I could risk to these lows, but I tried to size up a bit, so I might get wicked here. We'll see. But I get paid 4-1, and I don't even have to leave the range. And that's like right up into the sweet spot here. So a little fib pong play for me on Bella. We'll see how that ages. Just a trade. What is my risk on it? Probably like 1/4 or 0.5%. I don't see a reason right now, given how 2021 went, or 2020. Think about this too. Maybe we should talk a little bit about this. Like, things have been so fucking flush as far as like the whole market go. So, is this where I want to crank risk up and say, hey, I'm doing so well, I'm making so much, so I should now risk more? Or is this where it's like, hey, things have been going pretty well, value's gone up, Ethereum just hit like 1K. Maybe I can take some risk off the table and still play in this market, but like make sure, and this is something Jeff and I actually talked about before the stream. We didn't get to it on stream, but we kind of touched on it at the end. Bullish on stable coins, bullish on pre-sales, bullish on getting a good night's sleep. I think 2021 is going to be a big year, but I am not willing to give back my 2020 gains to find out. I am willing to take risk in the market, but I'm sizing down, especially just in the first 2 weeks of January. I really want to get a sense of that, and that a lot of that's going to come from the stock market, love it or hate it. Whether you believe in it or not, I think if this thing has a really shitty time, and if Trump stirs up a bunch of crap in the White House and whatever, there's just a few things that personally I'm waiting on. If nothing else, like whatever is going to happen here, right? So for ETH BTC, like if we can see some kind of retest, some kind of continuation, get some alts that really echo that, and then I'm like, okay, fuck, we actually are going full alt season. I think we are. I really think we are. But I'm just not going to be the first through the gate, if that makes sense. But I do have some setups. So I bought some Bell. I got some Algo. I really like Algo, actually. Check out this chart, guys. Because as much as I just gave my little disclaimer there, like the bottom line is I'm bullish on these things and I'm buying them. But you also got to realize like 90% of my net worth is in crypto. So I have to be careful. It's not like a punt of 5% of my life where I can just be like, oh, let's see what happens. Number go up, cool. Number go down, no big deal. Like I would be pretty shattered if I got hit up hard in the market. So I manage risk. I mean, that goes without saying. So let's take a look at this one. Really nice retest this morning. Actually, I actually had a bid on futures at like 36 something that didn't hit, but it was like so fucking close. Excuse my French, mate. But yeah, that thing just about filled. Oh my God. Didn't quite get my fill. Somebody front ran me. I think it was 36.18. I was trying to front run my little bar here, but anyways. So we'll see if I can get a fill there. But like, why do I like Algo on the chart? Well, look. Big fat consolidation, dip below, reclaim, test, and go. Failed, pullback, breakout on volume. I mean, this reminds me of XRP, if I'm being honest. If I'm being honest, mate, this reminds me a lot of XRP. We had a really long, boring consolidation. I mean, this thing hasn't done shit since September. Nothing. But it's been building up energy, and you want to see where the chaos level takes it? It's pretty high. Remember we said, like, when you get these kind of consolidations and you can just measure that pivot low to the pivot high and it kicks out a big level. Well, this volume is a really big stamp of approval of that breakout. And if you guys were around when I was talking about XRP, not a big XRP fan, but when I see things that, like, let's go look at it. You had this. I'm not going to say it's like the same. XRP pumps like in a way that most things don't. Scammier. But like, look, this thing sat there from September. Big, consolidation, lost the low, reclaim, ranging, breakout. Volume actually didn't even come in till later, but actually it might have, but not relative. Yeah, not really. So point is, big consolidation, breakout, don't sleep on it. That's how I feel. And that's why I've got a bag of Algorand. I can tell you what they're doing. Proof of stake is all I know. But I should probably look into the FA. Maybe they have something coming up. Because that's how you thin the herds, right? When you have, like, it's alt season. Oh, shit, what do I buy? And then you end up with no plan. If you have no plan, you end up buying, whatever's up that day. Because mostly people just talk about things that just went up. And so you end up jumping around from hot potato and you end up losing money. So get a plan. And one of the best things you can do when you find bullish charts like this one, and then just say you find 10 of them, and then find the one of those 10 that has something coming up that month. We're seeing it on TrustSwap already, right? Like Jeff's like, we have a huge January. Everyone knows that. We've got lots of stuff coming, lots of anticipation. And naturally, price responds, usually in advance of announcements. In this case, the algo's got something cooking. So I'm a little salty that I missed by half a cent or whatever it was here. But I bought a spot bag too. But that's why I buy that. And then I was like, fuck it. If I can get this fill, I'll fucking load up on leverage. But no such luck. Wah, wah, wah. I've got a few requests in here, aping in like always. Risk level 100%. Stefan, you're a goddamn legend. I pray for you every time I go to sleep. You are going to be the guy who everyone wants to be during the bull market. And if I ever spot a top, like just a big dirty, this is almost certainly a big top in the market, I am going to come to your house and force you to sell some. So just so you know, I'm coming for you, bro. I got your back. But until that day, and we're nowhere near that day, I don't think, but I'll find you. All right. Love the accents. Okay, Sohail. Well, I got to be careful because I do a whole bunch of different accents. And in high school, it was all good. Everyone's like, aha, you're so funny. But then you get to like 2021, I just got to be careful, man. I don't want to offend anyone or do anything dumb. So I'm just going to stick to British because I'm allowed to do English accents. But yeah, so anyways, just going to get myself in trouble here. Okay, let's take a look at Wi-Fi. Nobody's talking about it, so it's probably going to pump. That's what someone tweeted the other day. Let's see if there's any validity to that statement. I would imagine there might be. First of all, that's a target for the next breakout from this consolidation. Let's see how consolidation-y it is. I mean, I don't really use wedges. I like to draw them, but I don't really know how to trade off them. But there's certainly something to be said about consolidating price, volatility leaving the market right when it bores you to sleep and you're absolutely done with it. You get your move, which way it goes. So yeah, I mean, pump chaser zone, I can see it from a mile away. Just got to put that on there and we're sitting basically at it. So Wi-Fi looks bullish. In fact, look at this. Like that. That's what you want, right? You want that early signal. Always the volume, guys. If you ever take one thing away from this after managing risk, it's look for the volume. And I actually, probably one of the hard things when I was new to TA was understanding how volume works. It basically just stamps what's happening with approval. So it's like, if this is just consolidating and nothing changes in volume, who the fuck cares? But if this is consolidating, oh, there's a little breakup candle, and then you see volume rising, that's like a huge clue. It was a clue back here. It was not a good clue back here. So it's not like, perfect slam dunk. But when you have a setup and then you see the volume agrees with you, you almost need the volume to agree, in my opinion. The volume usually dies off during these consolidations. And then when you see that reverse, So it's like, hey, we're losing, we're going down in volume, and then suddenly there's a change to that. That's a hint. And there's still 3 hours to close this candle. You know, it tried to break out today. Wonder if this is more pronounced. Yeah, I mean, on the 4 hour, kind of did break out today, and now we're back in. So my guess is Wi-Fi will be fine. And if to be betting man, I'd say this consolidation and this whole thing just breaks upwards. Look, there, I said it. Keep it simple. KSM. There you go. There's a pokey name I can get behind. Polka dot name. This thing has just been an animal this year. Absolute mammoth beast. Going crazy. Just got a pretty sweet retest this morning. And this is what you got to be, this is what you keep an eye on. Like when I put out a tweet, it says like, hey guys, watch the Monday open. It's probably going to bring the market right back. Like, keep an eye on that shit. This is about like, yeah, you're a bear. And it's more about like, where can I find bids? And then you get these retests at those times. So I don't know where this consolidation breaks. I'll tell you this though. This is a, Polkadot project. Looks really strong. I would be compelled to take a quick look at the market cap just to see vaguely where it's at. 600 million. What's your upside? Couple X early, bunch more X later, maybe. Is it a strong play? Then it'll just probably do really well this year? Yup. Good buy and hold for me for my longer term portfolio? Yup. Great long from this exact spot? I don't know. I really like this level. That kind of dip stuff, like Algorand this morning. I tried to snipe that one. I was not looking at Kusama. But should have been, because it was a nice touch and go. And then we'll see. We'll see. Like, it's hard to say. That was a lot of volume. You see a lot of sell volume there. Could have been a lot of stopping out volume, or could have been a lot of actually getting the fuck out of this position volume. We'll see. But if we're a bull, this thing's going to do really well. Period. It's Polkadot, and it's not going anywhere. So, okay. Loans, food carriers in Canada. We're going to eventually expand to California. Remind me of the token we were talking about. Provides loans to food carriers in Canada. Oh, I have no idea, bro. Rex Tallboy, if you want to check it out, it's therationalinvestor.com. I will always give them a shout because Brian Beamish, the founder, is just a G. He's a 30-year vet. And anytime I get a chance to tell somebody to go see him, I do it. So there you go. It's called TRI. I think they're actually full for January. That's not a shout out to their quality, but you can go check it out. I did see some discussion, and he does a free show on Sundays if you want to get a flavor for his stuff, called the Broiler Chicken Show, and it's on YouTube. Brian Beamish. Check him out. He's a great guy. He's a trade mentor of mine, good friend, and he's taught me just about everything I know in TA, although I've adjusted some of it for my own purposes, like the pump chaser zone. I will take pride in saying that was my creation, but I learned it all from him. So let's get a couple more in, guys. We are getting to the top of the hour. What else did I buy? Oh yeah, I bought some LBC. Now look at this. This is a different kind of play because this chart, it's not really where I would usually buy. I only bought a little bit, like a little bit, like exactly. Let's see, 0.53% of my portfolio is now in this. So when I say a little bit, I mean relatively speaking, a very little bit. But here's why. Okay, first of all, I bought it up here, so already wrecked. No, wait. I was on the USD chart, but basically it dropped a bit too. It's in a reload zone now, so it's looking a little better. But here's why I bought it. Look at this shit, guys. This is crazy. Remember, I'm always like, oh, watch where the volume is. Let's zoom out to the weekly. I mean, when you're thinking about old coins that might come back, what are they doing? Did they leave? Did they die? I mean, look at this buy volume. Holy shit. I need a bag of this. I just do. I need to have it. And it's 0.5% of my portfolio now. But if we get into some FU bull market type environment, and this thing does what assets do, which is take back half their move in half the time or whatever, screw half the time, just do it ever. What's the upside? Some ridiculous thing. And of course, this is versus Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's a lot more bullish now, so it may not get all this way, but that's 400x. Am I reading that right? 40x, 400x, 44,000% return. So I can buy a little bit of this, right? Fuck it, I can. Hell yeah, I can. And it's, they're attacking the YouTube. I'm not attacking YouTube, but like they're challenging YouTube system and basically, blockchain YouTube can't ban me. I'm on library credits. So I think it's a cool product, cool concept. I think it could gain a lot of traction if we see a lot more YouTubers getting kicked off YouTube, especially the crypto guys. You're going to want to keep an eye on this one. And this is a very long-term play. I mean, you saw where I zoomed out to. I'm not looking at price tomorrow, next week, next month. If we break these lows, that sucks. But like the volume is insane. So I expect this thing to have a asymmetric profile, meaning I might just eat shit and lose the whole thing. Probably not. But if I don't, the upside's ridiculous. So, and there's like the volume is what's so important to me. In fact, the volume's been rising as it's been going down. So anyways, super bullish on this chart. It's a little bit low volume, like overall, like I try to go buy a bag of 500 and you're moving price. So just keep an eye on that. But yeah, really nice reload zone here. I'm going to add some more. I would like to get up to 1% exposure. And then it's like, whatever, right? Risking 1% of my thing on it. Aeon. Nanny Nibbles, Oscar Rivera. That's it. That's the word. I don't know why I couldn't find that word. I was searching for it. Let's go check out Aeon. It actually did move today. I say actually, I mean, it's been struggling, but that's my life. One of my old bags. This thing used to be a huge percentage of my portfolio. That very same bag is now almost non-existent in my portfolio. That's the way she goes. They go up, they go down. But this is an old 2017 bag. It's a free position, so I'm not like butthurt about, as much about the old bag that I had. But yeah, I mean, I think at one point it was worth like some ridiculous, like 50K. Now it's worth like 2,100. So not that I ever want to talk about value of bags, but that one stung when it stung. Now I'm over it, and I'm actually looking to long it. If it can, if it can keep up this little W here versus USD, this is yeah, it's looking good. I gotta say, it's looking good. It's in a reload zone. There is some nice volume coming in. As ever, the issue with Aeon is like, can the inflation be outpaced by the demand? Supply demand. They had their eighth inning. I think it should take some time to get priced in. It looks like that time may have come. Moves, one of their big dApps, talking about Uber, talking about Lyft, talking about challenging some of that stuff, the gig economy. So I'd have to look into what's latest, but from a TA perspective, yeah, we're sitting in the reload zone. We're breaking out. There's some nice volume. Fuck yeah. Let's go. Might actually have to buy some. As a trade, like I said, I'm already staking a little old bag. But as a trade, yeah, LBC, Aurelia, LBC. Back to that real quick. Like, so important to remember, like making risk. There's going to be so many opportunities this year, guys. There's going to be so many pumps, so many rallies, so many dumps. Like there's just going to be volatility. It's going to be crazy. And probably for the next year, 2, 3, 4, like 10, whatever, there's going to be cycles. Like, so that your number one job is like, make sure you have what you need to come back and play the game tomorrow. So if somebody sees this and they're like, you know what, fuck, I'm just going to take a punt. It's one of his ideas, but I'm just going to go crazy because it looks so ridiculously upside. And then it doesn't work out. Oh God, I won't even blink. Lose 1% of my portfolio. Like, oh shit, moving on. That sucks. I wanted that to work out, but it didn't. Make sure that you won't blink. Barely be affected if one of these things goes wrong. Size yourself accordingly. Because if you're staying up late at night worrying about any particular coin or any particular position, you probably oversized it. And as a smaller account, that's really hard to do. When you have like, just say you have $500. It is hard to like size down with that because you're like, okay, I put in 50. My fee was like, whatever. I get it. But whatever account size you have, you will not grow it over time reliably if you oversize percentage wise. You just won't. And if you do, great. You're one of the 1%, but 99% of people will just blow their accounts trying to make so much because they have a smaller account. So anyways, my rant. But yeah, LBC, definitely, good for a little allocation in my portfolio personally. Let's find a couple others. Micro scaling in. There you go. Yeah, micro scale. That's it. And that's what I did. Nanny nibble here, actually, like up here somewhere yesterday. And like, hell yeah, if it comes in here, I position myself, I can get a little more. If it breaks down from there, I'll just delete it from my portfolio and check it next year. That's how I'm playing this one. It's a very long-term asymmetric bet. Yeah, Taj. When you get it and you won't blow your account. That's it. That's it. You know, it's so easy to stare at upside. One of the things that's actually so toxic and really harmful is, it's unfortunate, but the nature of like social media, you know, when do I tweet things? Usually after a big win, right? And then you're like, oh, I'm up this. And then somebody's like, oh, I'm going to go buy that. And then it's the top. And that's not like, I try to avoid that, but in general, right? You hear about the big wins, the big winners, you hear about things after they've pumped. And, you know, you're going to hear a lot more about swap right now because they have announcements coming out, but also because the price is going up. It's going on leaderboards. You're going to see it on search trends. You're going to see it everywhere. And it's ironic that the times that you see things the most, and I'm not talking about trust swap in this case, but the times that you start to hear things like, for example, Bitcoin, right? Everyone's talking about Bitcoin now. It's probably historically, like if you're at an all-time high ever, then that means historically it's the worst time to buy. Like objectively speaking, I'm not saying, you know, buy or sell anything on this shit, but whereas like during the March dump, this, you know, nobody wanted to talk about it. And if they were talking about it, they're talking about the scam that it was, and it was going to 2,300. Ironically, that was the best time to buy. So learning that kind of shit too really helps. Yeah, it's only on Bittrex, Aurelia, is LBC. So yeah, this shit. Oh man, I could talk crypto with you guys all day. Love this shit. Long-term plays with the game overnight. Yeah. Yeah. Short-term trading is a beast. Day trading, I find very stressful. I try not to do it. I'm more focused on content creation and networking and just chatting with people and enjoying my life, and then trying to get into swing trades. So let's talk about a midterm swing on DOT. You know, like I don't know what the hell DOT's going to do this week. You know, is it going to go right up to this extension? Nice resistance there, come back. Like I have no idea. But zoom out, and I'm pretty confident that, you know, over, like, look at that volume. I mean, if that's not like a bunch of people and buyers and, you know, just saying, yo, this is going to be bullish, like zoom out. And I'm betting you, I'm very confident over the next year that this thing will look pretty good. So day trading it, I don't know, up, down, and away she goes. But on the swing trades, you know, you can get, personally, I find much more confidence. And then long term, fuck it, forget about it. Like long term, you tell me what's the probability this time next year, 2 years, 5 years, DOT will be worth more than it is now. The probability goes up the further out you go, until you get to like 70 years. And then it's like probability probably just goes down a bit because it might be something cooler. But you know what I mean? So Taj, I couldn't agree more with you. Yeah, the volume is so powerful, guys. Just keep an eye on that. Let's take a look at Ethereum. This thing is just, it's the king of the shit coins, not the king of everything, right? Bitcoin's king. Let's take a look at the high time frame Ethereum, because it came into some levels. You know, I'll be finding it shocking if it just never makes all highs. That's just like, it would be a weird thing. But we're up in the short reload zone. So go figure, right? What's everyone want to buy right now? Well, Ethereum's going crazy. Well, it's just, I think it is going to go higher longer term. Am I selling all my Ethereum here? Nope. But I'm not buying it anymore. Not now. I might buy it at this level, like, wow, buy, right? Like there's a time to buy at any level, but it's usually matters on like the direction it's going and all that shit. So I find it easy to buy things when they're going crazy, but I've learned the hard way that it's usually best to buy them when they're going lazy, if that makes sense. So what are we at right now? We're at resistance. You can see that right here. This is actually the breakdown level that started the bear market. You get an up, down, breakdown. So this is a very important level, right around $1,000. Big psychological number as well. Happens to be the 702 sweet spot. Go figure. These things tend to line up all the time. And now, for now, it's acting as resistance. got up to the 786 tag and then just dropped. And this is a weekly, so it's going to need time to do whatever it's going to do. It takes weeks for the weekly to make decisions, but this volume, very promising, right? We made new highs on higher volume, so it's a strong signal. I don't think, I think it'd be crazy to say this is the top for Ethereum. It's just in a weird place as far as like, can I buy? I cannot. But I'd like to see it consolidate here. I'd like to see it come down to some extent and see where the hell the buyers are going to support. We already saw them support here, right around 885 this morning. So let's let it build some stability here, where what it's going to do, or it just keeps mooning, which is sick. Which is why it's like, well, don't call tops. Serum, yeah, somebody mentioned Serum earlier. Let's flip over there. Tops take a little while to come in, guys, unless it's a blow off top, which in a weird way, aside from the overall level it's at, Ethereum right there, like could have been, but I doubt it. It seems weird that it would be. Seems weird, bro. Oh my God, Serum looks beautiful. Who brought this up? D3M KOS, goddamn legend. Look at this. This is the kind of chart, guys. This is the kind of chart I want to buy. So I look at Ethereum. I'm like, I love it. I'm been long. I'm long. I got some, whatever. Cool. But I'm not rushing to buy that. But this, look at this. Fucking great. And I keep hearing about Serum too. I always mix it up with SNX synthetics. So I'd have to look into this to find out, make sure I'm looking at like that I know that it's what I think it is. But look at that. So you got a chaos level drawn from, the pivot low to the center high of like the consolidation. And target wise, probably got a decent little short reload zone lining up with that. Yeah, right up around that 786. We've got the volume stamping an approval today, saying I want to be a bull, and I've got volume to prove it. And if we close this daily in 2 hours and 49 minutes above this level, then if we close this above that level, that's confirmed bullish market structure, as D3M mentioned. So that's really exciting. Parking midterm, I can just buy wherever and just be like, fuck it, I'm going to ride up to here. Not too worried. If I want to size up, get a nice actual proper trade in, then I probably need, like an SR flip play, or a pump chaser zone. So if this breakout continues, which it looks pretty well primed to do, then I will follow it up. I bet it goes something like that. And then that's where you get the pump chaser zone aligning with the support level. Find that happens a lot. Or, some kind of level. So it's like maybe it goes all the way to there, 382 on the retrace. And that puts the reload zone right at the breakout level. It sucks for like a first few days. Maybe I miss that, but then I get long and I catch the proper swing trade. So those are my thoughts initially on this one, how I would play it. It may be that we're getting really close to the environment where that kind of risk off conservative bullshit is like not serving, and it's time to just look for what's bullish and has a narrative and buy some. I just won't advocate for that on the show, but low key, I definitely sometimes do that, guys. Once in a while. Never like such a bag that I'm breaking risk rules, but like sometimes I'm like, fuck it. Like DOT yesterday, I was like, I'm just going to buy some DOT. Fuck it. It's just going to do well. Versus Bitcoin, it's at a great level. Versus USD, it's definitely like in a terrible spot. I mean, terrible spot to be like rushing in. Okay. I've been working for that so long. Raiden network. Yeah, I don't know. Layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum never really did anything. Yeah, Serum, right? Stefan sees it. I mean, once you guys look at charts enough, you're just like, yeah, I mean, you'll see this, after like a big rally, and you're like, oh, like M top. And then you could see a huge dump and you're like, ooh, www.breakout. Like you just start to get the flow of these things. This thing looks friggin' awesome. And it's versus USD, which is great because some of the ones that are like really bullish looking versus Bitcoin actually look like shit versus USD. Like not look like shit, but like they're up a lot already. And so, yeah, looking at Bitcoin, this thing's pretty low in its pattern too. Just got a little breakout volume. Okay, that's it. You got me, guys. I'm gonna go buy some serum. What does it do? Always buy first, learn later, right? But seriously, let's take a look. Serum drip sounds liquidy. 64 million. Fully diluted is 12 billion. That's a little high, but that just, that could be 10 years from now. Who knows? 63, a little sexier. And that's really what we always used to look at in 2017. So why not now? Faster, cheaper, more powerful DeFi. Sounds like a winning ticket. Built on Solana. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Feeling it. That's what it was. It was the Solana DEX, right? I've actually used this once. Now that I think about it, it was pretty sweet. And Solana. Oh God, we got to look at Solana. We just have that big release we've been talking about forever. Not quite yet. Oh, major supply is unlocked. I marked it on the chart. Okay, so that is maybe not yet. Looks good though. Look at this chart too, right? SOL. Shit out of luck. Got some nice levels. Actually already had like a little breakout retest here off two little higher low thing. So that was a sweet trade if you were not taking a break on New Year's Eve. But coming up to a level here, resistance, I think. What do you guys say? FTX, baby. Yeah, no, I mean, Sam's got its back. So I would assume, and we've been saying this like, Nick, we've been waiting for this supply because some would argue it's priced in, be like, okay, they knew that supply was going to be unlocked. So it's already just going to be so low when it happens that people may not sell that supply, blah, blah, blah. It's hard to say, but I just know when a huge supply event comes in, it's not great to be long as a rule. But knowing Sam and like the squad and the guys who are invested in this, they'll just be like, fuck that, like get that supply and pump it. Like there's bags for days there. They can do whatever they want with this thing. And all I want to know is I like to be on side with that kind of squad. So Serum looks great. Solana looks good. It's at resistance. It's come off this level. Looks like, based on what Nick told me, it's the 7th of January where the supply happens. So, there's also that whole like, hey, let's push it up into a level so that when that unlock happens, we have room to sell it without breaking structure. Who knows what games are going on over there? I'd love to be a fly on the wall on that call. But let's find out, because if it breaks above this level, bing, or supply unlocks, more like what you might expect to happen. And then it's just like, or it could be like Polka Starter, where it went like supply unlocked, and there was just like one small move. Actually, we should probably use that as a case study today. Polls. Know the exact spot, but let's take a look. I think it was something like this. I don't know. It was fairly recently, and it was like their last big release of like pre-sale tokens, and it just went like doo doo. I think it was actually maybe this candle. I don't know, but let's check the hourly. Yeah, that's what it was. I think it was this candle here. So it was like, ooh, release, and everyone was like bearish on it because they're like, there's a distribution coming, and then it was like, fuck you, we're Polkadot, and then it chilled for a bit, and now it's just like, yeah, there's no more distribution coming for this one. And pretty much everything that's gone on Polka Starter has done well. And I think you have to actually have the tokens in your wallet to participate. So it stands to reason that they will continue to do well. But we're making new highs and we're making lower highs in volume. So I'm just going to chill for a bit. But it looks really strong. I actually have some. So I guess I should point that out. But it's not like a huge bag. It's when I was farming the 1-inch wallets, I just bought like $100 worth of poles and Rook and one other, like not in every wallet, but like in each wallet, I would buy $100 of like either of those. What a play. And then like now you get to just sit there with some of that in the wallet for free. I'm not going to go farm those out of the wallet. It costs too much fees. But if they ever blow up like in a year, like go back and one Rook is just worth like $700, I'd be like, oh, sick. It's 6 bags of one Rook. Because that's what I did. I put one Rook. They were like $73 or something, and I just bought one and put it into like 10 different wallets for the 1 inch thing. Which, oh my god, let's talk about 1 inch for a sec. Really wish I talked about it on stream. Little birdie whispered to me one day, he's like, hey, why not farm some 1 inch wallets? They sound like they're doing an airdrop. And I did, and I went stupid ape and I farmed a bunch of them. And then I thought it was a dud because I read some article that was like, actually, that was an airdrop for LPs in August. I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. I just wasted hundreds of dollars in fees. And then on Christmas Eve, my buddy texted me. He's like, bro, your 1 inch play worked, you idiot. Go check your wallets. Farm. I was like, oh my God. So Polkastarter and Rook I have in $100 lots across a few wallets. Full disclosure. Yeah, Rook looks really good. I mean, it's at a level, so it's not like it definitely looks bullish. It's coming into a level, so we'll see how it resolves this level. I mean, you can see where I drew upside, an extension of that initial impulse. Really, I farmed 10, 15 wallets, good chunk of them. Like, the funny thing is, you think back, you're like, oh, that's sick. Like, oh my God, free money. And it was, period. But then you just sit there and I'm like, God, it was about 2 weeks before they did it. I don't know when the snapshot was, but I'm just like, I was pretty sure like it was a good play until after somebody pinged me with the article that basically shit on my parade. But then, yeah, God, if you just spent like all day, every day for 3 weeks farming those things, oh my God, you would have made $1 million. But, it's all risk reward on both sides. I honestly thought after I farmed them for about 2 weeks, I didn't even tell anyone anymore. I felt like an idiot. All my buddies went and did a couple, and then it was like, oh, okay, thanks, bro. Just wasted all this gas, bro. Now you're telling me it's not going to happen, right? And so, yeah, I felt pretty dumb for about 2 weeks, and then I felt really smart. Now it's just a new day. Moving on. Yeah, some did hundreds of wallets. Well, look, I mean, it should have been a topic on stream. Like, I truly regret not at least discussing it because it was an easy, like in retrospect, it was an obvious thing to at least take a shot at because they knew they were going to do a token drop. Uniswap's method was friggin' awesome. Everyone loved them. It was very popular. The token's doing quite well. So it makes sense that they would repeat it. And in fact, Chico Crypto on his YouTube channel, who I caught wind of that video, and he talked about that connection too. And in fact, he actually had the founder of 1 inch on there basically saying, yeah, we're going to do something like that. So, I mean, yeah, like talk about low hanging fruit. It was an expensive thing to do. And it took me a long time. You got to make a lot of wallets. Like it's not easy. God, if you had a bot that could just like ping, ping, ping auto. Anyways. And then, so now the important question, the valuable discussion is, okay, what next? Is there another one? DYDX exchange could be a thing I've heard. Matcha, some other of these. I mean, any one of them that's talking about having a token or might have a token and is like a DEX. I mean, look into this stuff, maybe bring some ideas up. But yeah, there's definitely a few where it's like, why not just go make a trade or two? I feel bad for this one guy. Apparently he farmed like 100 or 50 or like whatever, some huge amount, but he only did $17 of trading on each wallet. And the minimum was 20. Oh dear God, punch in the stomach. That sucks. So yeah. Activate subtitle, please. Oh, I don't know if we can do that, John, but we are just wrapping up LK. So I apologize, but maybe some closed captioning for future streams. Guys, if you haven't already and you want to throw us a like, throw a sub on the channel. I'll be live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with Nick Cote on Wednesdays and Fridays. Really smart guy, great analyst, top trader. So we're going to try to bring you guys as much of this kind of value and hangout as we can. We do need to wrap today as we get to the end of our follow-up hour after our interview with Jeff. I've got to get out and just, stretch my legs a bit and take a few breaths. But we'll be in the trading pit, free access in there. And if you guys ever ping me at Random Task on Telegram in the trading pit, happy to answer some questions. Following us on Twitter at Real Hero Labs. Do a lot of my tweets on that account at Random Task 555. I do a lot of my more like actual trade setups on that account. So yeah, throw us a follow, throw us a like, come hang out. It's free. We're just doing this shit. Don't get paid to talk about anything in particular, so you can be safe in that sense with us. So if you're new to the channel today, I'd love to have you. Yeah, share at this level. Okay, we'll end with share because y'all know I have a thought on that bag at all times. Yeah, I don't love it at this level. I think, okay, I did hear something though. Okay, I'll tell you guys this. I'm just going to go for it. I was not told to keep this a secret. So, word is now from a TA perspective, this thing probably needs a little, where, like, you guys know me already. Where am I looking to buy? Down at this kind of thing, right? Retest, RLZ. Could it cool down a bit? Does that mean it's like bad coin? No, just means that there's more buyers than sellers, or more sellers than buyers. So I would expect something like this to happen now over here. So it's like, something like that. Everyone forget about it. Algo stable coins are boring. They're shit, right? Get everyone out that was here for the quick gains. Whales loading up. Get some new DSD whales over here, whoever, and then it's just like next leg. That's honestly, that's what I expect. Who knows how long that lasts and exactly, but that's something like that. But could look back tomorrow and it's like, like we got a low, we got a higher low, we got a breakout. Like, you never know. So DCAing, but generally speaking, if you don't care about a coin, like you just like, I'll buy it if it comes to me. That's probably the best way to be a trader. Then, reload zones, all that stuff. Okay. The thing I was going to tell you, they're going to be launching other stable coins, right? So you got like USDX, and then if that's in positive rebase, the shareholders get a nice percentage of that. Then, EuroX, they want to do stablecoin for euro, stablecoin for yen. If you guys look at their protocol documents, they want to have, all kinds of proxies, equities, S&P indexes, all these things basically stabilized and then can be used for price discovery, whatever. Like, I don't know the use case beyond, like, not that it doesn't exist. He didn't explain it to me. But they have plans for so many different products, essentially stable coins, stable assets, stable, what's the word? Synthetics. And every one of them will be paid, like the rebases, the rewards. Shareholders will get a piece of every single one of them. It's going to be the backbone of this whole thing. So that's exciting to me. I think the value overall is probably a little under, but it's a social experiment. So caveat emptor. And the thing I heard most recently is that when they launch these new tokens, these new stable coins, whatever, the initial supply will be released to stakers of share. So on the website now, you can actually stake your share, and it's instantly you're getting rewards. But if you want to take it back and unlock it, you'd have to wait 3 days after announcing that you're unstaking. So yeah, could be some airdrops in the cards for shareholders sometime soon. So we'll see. Anyways, guys, have a great day. Thanks for throwing that question in there at the end, Jimmy. Appreciate your guys' time and coming to spend it with us. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And whatever you guys do in the market, just remember, play from strength. I am not back on studio view. Should be. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Whatever you guys do, always play from strength and, just manage risk. I think we're in for a really exciting couple of weeks here, maybe months, possibly a whole year. We're going to play it level by level right here with you on Hero Labs Live. So have a wonderful day and talk soon.